All right. Well, uh, let's see. Right now, because I'm using my own custom app, and then Ben made a very nice uh, website that just posts it for me. It's a little bit
Mm.
janky right now, but so it just takes a second to get everything uploaded. But
I guess important question related to that: is there a snake related name coming for this app?
that's a great question. I think the actual intention is to uh, add the functionality of my app to Cobra,
Excellent.
because that just would make everyone's lives oops, nicer than having a second website. But
Hmm.
uh, if that ends up not being the case, then I've got some thoughts in mind. Oh, did I do this right? I did this wrong. Sorry. Uh, Standings after round one, fantastic. And now I can do round two pairings. Sorry for the dead air, everyone. And uh,
Well, we can
but it should take just a
let's
moment.
see what. Yeah, I was gonna say let's check the standings and walk through those, but I guess
Yeah. Oh, I
difficult to
guess
do till
I
repairing
could have that
happens.
open on I could open that up on another tab. Why don't I do that, and I can let you at least have something to vamp on for a moment.
Yeah,
Uh,
how about that?
this is Roughneck Repair Squad is the so this is the standings after round one. They don't even all fit on the there's a lot more people than I thought were going to
Oh,
show up. So
it's amazing. People are drawn by the single-sided Swiss.
that's
People
definitely
want. They know it's the future. Wow, this is awesome. Yeah, we're seeing some long time like some old players coming back to play here, which is really cool to see. So obviously this is a single-sided Swiss game. There aren't, we can't talk about who split versus who swept versus who, well, in theory we could talk about ties, but there aren't any this round. But some of let's see. Okay, so side balance. Yeah, that tells me which side got played. So we're
yeah.
seeing wins from Loop. We're seeing wins from Mirror Morph. Ooh, a Mirror Morph win. Love that. We're seeing a Jesminder win as well. CTM win. Asa win. Tau win. Outfit win. Precision Design win. Precision Design lost and Max win. Yeah, so looking through the list, there are one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I'm seeing at least seven maxes in this tournament, which, as a longtime max player, I am super stoked to see that many maxes in a tournament. Um,
Yeah, this is a very max heavy tournament and a very anarch heavy tournament as well. Despite
yeah,
them,
what is this?
despite everyone saying they got no new cards.
Yeah,
Uh,
everyone's like, "Oh, is Anarch dead?" And well, I don't know. You tell me. Like, maybe this is just U.S. Continentals. Like,
maybe. Uh, So we're gonna post the pairings on the website in a moment. I'm gonna put them up in the Discord for people that want to see them. Uh,
so interestingly enough, among the decks that won in round one, we're also seeing a win by Freedom Kamalo. So if all of these maxes are on the virus build, which may not be the case, but at least some number of them are. So that's quite a few virus decks winning in round one, despite the fact that arguably purges have never at any point in the game been stronger than they are right now. Other than maybe in potential unleashed right after the rule was changed and they could purge instead of clicking for three.
hmm. Yeah. Sorry. There is apparently an issue with my CSV file. Oh. But,
Oh,
but I will. Let's. You know what? Maybe I can throw. I'll throw the pairings up. Uh, another minute or two to start.
Yeah. Always some technical difficulties expected with completely new technology here. So I think that players and the crowd
All right.
hopefully
Well, in this case,
are
it
understanding.
was user error, which is the best kind of error.
Well, I mean, user error with new technology is also expected.
Yeah, I made both a function to export. Oh, all right. Uh,
One interesting deck that won in round one, Jinteki Restoring Humanity.
yeah, that's
An idea that I've seen somewhat panned in many corners of the internet, but so far, Jinteki Restoring Humanity is clapping back at the haters.
for sure. Um, oh, okay. I've got something very weird going on. All right, so something actually happened on my end.
Uh-oh.
So, um, oh shoot, I didn't. Okay. Um, something is wrong with my app. So, okay. Anyway, maybe I will try and just get the pairings up as an image that I can share on the screen. Um, but let's see. Sorry, 1 second. So maybe I'll just read off some pairings we got. So we got. Actually, no, that's a terrible way to do it. Let me actually go open
Yeah,
OBS.
we can hold until they're ready, I would say.
Yeah.
One question we have in the chat: how many rounds are planned for today?
Yep, 6 rounds.
6 rounds. That's a lot of Netrunner. It's a lot of obviously 6 rounds, not quite as long of a tournament as it normally sounds. You know, this isn't 12 games of 6 rounds, but in theory, that's 3 rounds corp, 3 rounds runner for most players.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So this is still like actually not that many games. I think I'm gonna.
Though for some players, it will end up being more games of Netrunner because they can't 2 for 1 and
Yep.
then ID their last round.
Okay. It looks like everyone is in their tables. I'm gonna start the timer, and we can just pick a table, go to that,
Sounds
and
good. Let
I
me
will
take a look at the
have to figure out.
pairing
I
image.
should have. This is the hiccups that you hit when you're trying to new tech for the first time live. And I should have tested this last night, but oh well.
Such is life. Let's see.
Do you want to go? I want to. I guess. I mean, it's people that have won one game versus people that have won 0 games. So I don't know that we need to try and like engineer for a top table. Um,
Oh, okay. It's all 1 game versus 0 games.
I
I
think
was
there's
not
going to
sure if there
be at
were.
least. There's probably going to be one mismatch at least. I should actually.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, like table one, for instance, um is definitely a 1 win versus 0 win table. It looks like.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there may be some of those just to make sure the sides balance out.
Hmm.
Simply the Onion
Um,
versus. Yeah, I
let
think
me.
actually that might be one of the Sanjay versus. Yep, that's. Those are both one wins. Test running and.
If sorry,
Yeah.
did you say table three is both on one win?
Yes, yeah, it's Sanjay and Herbert Klopstock, I believe.
I'm down for that one if we want. I believe that's an Argus matchup.
Sounds good. Let's see if I can find that table. Ah, yes, I can.
Oh, okay. It looks like it's the same max list.
Oh, actually, let's
Yeah, we can look for a different runner if we want. It's a fun list, but we did just see it in action.
yeah. Um, let's see. Do we want to go to
Is
maybe
movable object on a win?
movable object? Uh, should be on. Yes, they are on a win, and so is
That's yeah.
yeah.
So, so that I believe that matchup should be
Cool.
um
I will go right
one versus
there.
one as well. Table 9.
Table 9. Thank you. All right.
Now this is more Anarch,
Yep,
but
more
it already
Anarchs.
looks like a very very different list. We see two Rezekis in play for Val, so
Yep.
Val is dripping 2 credits a turn plus however many times you run. The value never stops. Interesting though, I say this, there is a Knob Curie in the discard pile though. Is this just the meta? Is everything Knob Curie? Has it always been? Seems like a lightning fast start, however,
Yeah.
for movable object.
Yeah, I mean, 3 points already scored. Got the nice little Wayland L Fort of Ice. Um,
And already a hard hitting news fired off into a runner with 1 credit. Whoa, that's very, very rough.
sorry, I'm trying to figure out a bunch. This is the fun stuff. Trying to do a bunch of tech all live.
Yeah.
um,
Okay, so looking back at the logs, Above the Law did in fact get a fair amount of value.
did
Above the Law
it?
trashed a daily casts with at least 4 credits left on it, maybe
Oof.
6.
Yeah, it looks okay. It looks like they got at least one trigger on daily casts. Yeah, they got one trigger on the daily casts. Wow, that's a really high value above the law.
Yeah,
Um,
and we have a wall to wall ticking. So this Wayland built to last is out running. And I think that that's the entire idea behind the ID, right? You get to click for credits while also doing stuff like throwing counters on your ice, or obviously the real value, just advancing your agendas.
yeah,
Score a hostile takeover and gain like a billion credits, basically.
yeah. I really like the way this idea is worded, so that just kind of dirtling and making a bunch of three advancements on your ice is not easy.
Is not good.
Yeah,
Though
it's not
notably,
valuable.
yeah, notably, this wall to wall is throwing advancement counters on this Mausolus, which can make it an end the run ice that sucks to break as Anarch.
Yeah, for sure. Like that Mausolus with three counters is a it's almost like a whole different breed of ice than just Mausolus on its own. So,
Hmm.
um,
Both are good, but obviously the 3 counters is the one you'd rather have.
yeah,
Though you have to get it there, and ugh. I mean, I understand that it only costs you 3 clicks to do it as built to last because you get 2 credits off of the first one, but ugh,
yeah. It's I mean
still
like
a big cost.
it's still 3 clicks and net minus 1 credit to make your ice just the touch the smallest bit better.
Yeah.
Or not the smallest bit, like a noticeable bit, but that's a
Hmm.
whole turn you're spending just to improve one piece of ice. The runner can just say, "All right, I'll never run at that again."
Yep. And wall to wall definitely seems like the best way to do it because you can just passively tick it up while you're also drawing through your deck or while you're also gaining money.
Yep. Oh, interesting that they're gonna add it as the second action. I feel like that's not done commonly. Oh, okay. Yeah, they just missed the
Oh,
enhancement trigger. That makes some sense. Yeah. Just set the counter
okay.
to 3. We're all good. Yeah, I was just about to say movable object probably does want to start getting an agenda because
Yep.
they started strong, but the longer this game goes, the more value they're losing. Um,
So we are definitely seeing some shenanigans in Dean's list. We have a Friday chip in the bin. We have the Knob Curie, as already talked about. I wonder if this seems a bit like. I mean, is this a Val rebirth to freedom or a Val rebirth to loop?
hmm. Yeah, and just use Imp and Friday chips to sort of
Mm-hmm.
get through your deck faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're just using the bad. Like to me, that the you're having to run 10 extra cards for the bad pub if you're trying to, or
Mm-hmm.
4 5 extra cards and not having your idea at the start. I know
Yeah.
people have loved Val for a long time, and it's almost certainly correct. But I always am like, I'd love to be thin.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I've loved playing Val, but a lot of times less when there's a particular combination of cards you want to get in play. Though obviously, Find the Truth Val a little bit different there. That is a particular combination of cards you want to get into play.
Mm-hmm.
So a similar concept, I guess. That said, we see a third ice going on the remote and an install advance in the remote. This is throwing down the gauntlet right here. This is saying, come and get this or perish.
Yes, yeah. The, I mean, this is for my taste of Wayland, this is like maybe too many ice on the board, but this is
Mm-hmm.
this is still a board state. Every Wayland player would be happy to uh, be give. So
Yeah. And so far, not seeing any ways to break ice come out from Dean. So, given that at the very least, a code gate breaker is required to get into the server, Mausolus does end the run now. It is a hard end the run, and a lot of other bad stuff. This is going to be somewhat difficult, I think. Um, there's no inject into stim hack to go for here.
yeah, yeah. It's
I guess that's the one of the reasons that it is nice to be one of those 40 card anarchs or one of those 45 card anarchs is um, something that you can affectionately call Val problems of my Black Orchestra was card number 25 and I just never saw it.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, at the same time, Botulus does, in theory, help you solve
Hmm.
some of that problems by being that sort of bridge solution. So.
Yeah.
Um,
We do see a Botchus come down with a knob to kind of keep it refilled so that you can break 2 ice more easily on the next, or 2 subs more easily on the next turn. Not challenging the remote though. Can't get into the remote and decides that it's not worth letting the first 2 ice and then also the first 2 subs on Mausolus fire. And for what it's worth, it is not actually an agenda.
Yep, yep. It was just the NGO, which I think movable object really wants the agenda here so that they can
Mm-hmm.
score out before Val comes up and into Edward Kim.
Interesting.
I mean, as we were talking about last game, you always want to, but you never should.
Maybe this is the case though. Maybe this is the case where Ed Kim is because Friday Chip triggers off of trashing a corp card, so that's nice. There aren't currently that many virus. There aren't that many virus cards in play to get value out of freedom. Chrysium Grid on R&D, so Knob Curie will not trigger. And look at that, the hammer smashes a hedge fund. And Kim is multi-access.
Kim as multi-access.
Oh,
Stealing
and
an ass.
snipes an Atlas, so it does pay
That's
off.
that's really nice. That's very nice for Dean here.
Yeah, and I was about to ask what's in server 1, because that was again throwing down the gauntlet a little bit, but it is just the wall-to-wall back in there.
Yeah, the wall to wall does help with with digging through the, I mean, it's not an R&D lock because of the agenda steal, but it does help you get to that agenda so you can score out sooner, which is, you know, something you really want to be
Yeah.
doing. When I was putting together like my beginner startup decks, I was like, I think even though wall to wall has some soft anti synergy with BTL, because if you place the advancement, you can't then advance it for the built to last credit. You really just want
Mm-hmm.
to be going as fast as possible, because if
Yeah.
your RD is really just saying, "Oh, make 2 credits" when you do this one specific action, you're going to get outvalued by a bunch of other runners in the late game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, and definitely wonder what that second card in server one is. One strong option, we already see a copy in archives, Malapert Data Vault. I
hmm
mean, if you want to talk about going fast, that gets you whatever tools you need to go fast. It can fetch you maybe a sprint, or it can fetch you the ice that you need to throw on R&D to keep Ed Kim out, or it can fetch you an Audacity, because once you score another 2-pointer out of this remote, you're on 5.
That's true. Yeah, no, get it. That would definitely be what you're hoping for here, I think. So we'll see. Maybe
Yeah,
that is what's in server one, but it's just a
it
Rashida.
is a Rashida.
So this,
Rashida's still good, gains
yeah,
you credits, gets you through that R&D lock.
9 cards left in R&D. I find it hard to believe they didn't have
Good
agendas in
lord, yeah.
hand before this. Um,
Yeah,
so
this HQ definitely seems really juicy if Dean has any way to get in there.
for sure. Uh,
Dean did also score hostile takeover out of R&D, so that does take the line of score another 2-pointer and then get the last 2 hostiles off the table. We will need to see a quote-unquote real agenda score for the last agenda.
Sorry, 1 second.
And it certainly looks like that's what's happening here. We see
Yeah,
install advance in server 1, again throwing down the gauntlet here.
you gotta come get this. And let's see, how many
Yep.
NGOs are in the bin? 2 NGOs. So maybe this is the big bluff, but it does seem
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Right. Now, the difference, of course, is this time Paperclip and Black Orchestra are in the bin. So
that's true. That's a
if
big difference.
if Dean has enough money, server 1 is potentially under threat. That's a big if, though. I
Yeah,
mean, it costs a lot to get through just this Mausolus.
it's like 9 credits, and that's giving the corp 3 more credits to deal with the
Mm-hmm.
Mausolus. Um,
And
I
that's
mean,
without even thinking of, we have not seen that much influence from this build to last. We've seen like a hard hitting news.
mhm.
What if server 1 has a void in it? You're never getting in
Oh,
there.
I don't know. That was not a thing I even thought about, because it's just not. I feel like void and rushing maybe don't go so well together.
Yeah.
But if that is a void insert, we have so little information about where the influence has been spent. We've actually seen 0 points of influence, I believe.
We saw one hard hitting news, but it got preemptived back.
Yes, you're right. So that
Now,
suggests at the
this
very
is an
least,
Afshar on HQ to make the credit differential even worse.
yeah, accessed public trail.
Uh, that's a little more influence.
That's a
Speaks
little
to the
more.
tag plan again.
Yep.
A single tag with public trail is what you get. So I'm wondering what the tag punishment is there. Is it retribution? Is it exchange of information?
Yeah, that's a very, maybe it's just a cheeky retribution to go and
Yeah.
destroy. Especially with something like Colossus. I
Mm-hmm.
want to give a quick shout out to Netscape Navigator for coming in with their party from presumably the UK Store Champs that just finished.
Oh,
Uh,
excellent.
where we're midway through the second round of our single-sided Swiss tournaments. This is only the second game these players have played. Their last game was playing uh, Corpin was playing the reverse of the decks they're currently playing. Um, but we're in a very this match started very with movable object rushing out a hostile and getting a high valued above the law, hitting a daily cast with 6 credits on it, and Dean is running Val with that rebirthed into Ed Kim, got the hammer and started smashing, and now
Hmm.
we got to be down close to the end here with only 7 cards left in R&D for
Yeah,
sure.
the end one way or the other. We can see Dean going back to R&D a few times, possibly trying to smash stuff out of R&D to unlock a potential mill scenario. It seems a little crazy. There are 7 cards still, but you trash something with a normal trash cost, you trash something with Ed Kim, and suddenly it's not as crazy as it seems.
Yeah, but here's going to be the score. Maybe a GFI makes a lot of
GFI.
sense. So no, we still don't. So presumably that wasn't a Malpert data vault, or maybe they just didn't feel like resing it in server one.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, it's possible that because of the hammer smashes, there's nothing in R&D that they want to get.
yeah, and if they have the one hostile already in hand, you don't want to
Hmm.
overdraw, have to discard, and potentially get closer to milling yourself out here.
Yeah.
So
Dean going to archives to see what's there. Has to be very careful because obviously the last hostile would just be game
yeah,
if it's in HQ.
all right.
And it is
Well,
not cheap to get into HQ.
archives. Oh, we've seen Amaze Amusements. That's one of the big sinks. So maybe that's what's in server
Interesting.
one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess.
that's it. You're kind of Argus at that point, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of influence to turn yourself into Argus, but I get with a thinner deck you'll get that set up more consistently, faster probably.
Oh,
Okay,
we see a GFI in HQ.
HQ. I'm surprised
So
there's no.
yeah.
I'm very surprised that there's no res on this HQ ice. I wonder if it's like a Pharaohs. That's the only thing I'm thinking because you only need you only need 1 credit to score a hostile from hand as
And in
BTL.
theory, if you have an Audacity, you need 0. Oh, well, nope.
Oh,
Forget that plan. Audacity's. Oh no, running archives, so it does not trash the Audacity
oh
because you
wow,
have
that
access.
could be
Yeah,
huge here.
that could be because that does unlock draw for the hostile. Install Audacity.
Oh, okay. So now
It
that
is
they've
the
got it
Pharaohs.
locked,
Good call there.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They probably could have done this a little while ago. Um,
Oh,
oh,
okay. It looks like this may have been a misclick to res the Pharaohs.
okay. And they want to have the eight
Okay.
credits. I wonder if maybe they just haven't done the math because they should be all fine to go. But assuming that they're going for the Audacity fast advancement with an Atlas or score
Yeah.
the hostile takeover, you know, either of those they have enough for. So.
Hmm. A lot depends on exactly what Dean finds. Um, I am not sure that Dean. I mean, Dean can run through Colossus next turn to try to get a snipe out of R&D, but that might be the only server that Dean can reliably access next turn.
Yeah, but I feel like there's so many ways that this server. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you see the Audacity,
Yeah,
and it is the Atlas.
GG. Yeah, so
GG.
I think this might just be not being as familiar with BTL and not knowing they could go down to that 1 credit and still win, but
Hmm.
um, it's still a solid win for movable object, and beat
Agreed.
one of the most storied players in the history of the
Yeah,
game.
and obviously lines like draw for hostile, install Audacity, this they're easier to see when you're not the one who's having HQ run.
Very true. Very true. When you're not like trying to panic, go, wait, none of my ice has end the run that they care about. Definitely it gets a little bit harder. All right. Well,
Hmm.
we've got still some time left on the round. Um, Yeah, we got 15 minutes still, so let's hop over. Let's see. Do you want to go? We could go to table 10 and see Robo Mascot's Criminal. We saw his. What was he playing? We saw his Reality Plus deck last round.
Yeah, and that is against an ASA. So this is an ASA 419 matchup, which I
Oh,
think is very emblematic of the meta at the
yes.
moment.
According to the UK store champs, this is the meta,
Yep.
and us Americans are screwing around with Max for no good reason. So, well, you know,
I, I mean that's just Netrunner though. That's just what Americans do in Netrunner. I remember the Moons meta when every like Slack was just a hellscape of how dare you play Vitruvius, and we're over here like, what are you talking about? I'm not even playing Andy. Like so.
yeah,
Americans screwing around with what they're actually playing is a time-honored tradition, and really, it's an important part of Netrunner. This looks like it's going to be a drafter fire. That's obviously not ideal.
yep, yeah. No, you definitely don't. Drafter fires are one of the
Oh,
easiest ways to feel like you're winning. Uh,
even
as
worse, it is a drafter fire to get back a fully operational
and
that
a
robot knew about.
and a Manganarm Skunkworks as well from archives that just goes on
Ugh.
HQ and says you have to pay 2 credits or 2 clicks and then 3 credits, which you can't even afford to pay.
Unless you let me fire the draw sub,
Nope. So okay. So
which,
I
yeah,
wonder if you just you don't click this. Wow, clicking twice. They don't get to trash the Manganarm Skunkworks, but I guess they see 2 cards. Boy, this is
hmm
this is very rough for Freedom here.
yeah, this 419 seems like a very tough spot right now.
Yeah.
Not sure that there are enough clicks to get anything resembling a win, unfortunately. This is just what the Ace of deck does, though. It gets you in a position where they are far enough ahead that you have to let something catastrophic like Drafter firing happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
Oh,
what turn are we on? Yeah, turn 13. That's pretty late, but I think
hmm
that's it at the same time. So,
yeah.
um,
And it is indeed a biotic out of hand, so it wasn't even the thing in server one. That was a ruse. So really just
just
overall, very,
very
very rough
hard.
spot to be in.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, there's no Hagen res. I wonder if that Rezeki was just never installed, um,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
if maybe a
interesting that
Hagen
it's in
got
the bin.
trashed. Because there is one face up in the bin, so maybe they overwrote it at some point. But
Mm,
all right, well, that was so much for that spectation. Let's see. That looks like it might be almost everyone. Um, I see a lot of people in table 6, which makes me not want to, unless you're there already. Um,
I am not. I definitely don't want to jump into a game with 6 spectators because I imagine I'll be getting a screen where I can't see anything.
yeah, so I'm gonna go to table 12 just to see if anyone's in there. Um,
Looks like this is a game that's still going, and there are a lot of cards installed.
yeah, this is a peak install runner, as some would call it. Um,
Ooh. So one of the things helping out with the number of installed things, we have 3 DZMZ optimizers on the side of Woo,
yeah,
which just make it very cheap to get anything that says program into play. And obviously with Woo, you can get them from a stack at any point.
you know,
So
I just
yeah.
realized there is 5 additional MU to the 4 starting MU. So this player wanted to make sure they can have 9 MU of their rig down, which
Good lord, yeah.
that's that's something. Paperclip in the bin, overclock running R&D, and then Nancy out of built to
A
last.
Nancy. That is 4 influence, and it is
I
a
mean,
lot of money for MK Ultra.
oh, I just realized this is an Aesop's MK like DZMZ, so I imagine their goal is to sell the MK every turn to Aesop's and then install it for free by running a
Yeah.
sentry.
Yeah, and I guess Ballista really well. Ballista's strength 4, so even there, you're trading. I make 3 credits for I spend 6.
Yeah,
So a little bit rough times for MK Ultra.
agreed. Oh,
And
Cybertruck.
obviously,
Yeah.
Nancy is not something you want firing ever. So,
Oh, except that Cyber Trooper to loot does help with that because it brings MK in at strength
oh,
3.
yeah, okay. So Ballista is basically it turns that into I Aesop's this and I get to break Ballista for free.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm,
Well, yeah. So you break Ballista for free, and then you get to deal with a nice 5 strength Pharaohs.
yep.
That's rapidly, it looks like, maybe turning into a not 5 strength Pharaohs instead of 10 strength Pharaohs.
Yeah. Right, there's an impressive like the rig is there. The rig is absolutely there for Wu. We even have the T400 memory diamond down for extra hand size and extra MU. The issue is just the rig is also there for built to last. There are uh, basically 500 credits worth of ice rest,
Yeah.
if my math is correct.
I think it costs that.
And
Rounding error, it could be 1,000 instead.
yeah, yeah, sounds about right. And obviously only 3 credits with a current install in server 1, but threatening the win here on 5. If this is an Atlas, this is game over if you can't get in.
All right, Chameleon coming down at strength 5. That's very nice here. I guess you need.
It
Okay, they're
is.
naming Sentry. I'm assuming they're just gonna let Macrophage eat up their entire rig because there's not really a reasonable way to break it. Yep.
Seems like it, yeah.
So
Now,
purging.
entire rig, so we get
Well,
the purge,
conduit
which
really is the big thing I think here, right?
and also the 4 credits from the purge. The
Oh
4 credits
wow, they
matter.
do get the 4 credits from the purge. I missed the sandbox in the score area.
Yeah.
Though I guess
Now, I
Wu.
don't know how much those 4 credits matter right now because either this is an Atlas or it isn't. It gives you the ability to potentially throw down another ice and go for a score next turn.
Yeah, I guess Wu with has the extra link from Cyber Trooper, so they could
Oh,
spend
true.
a credit to keep their conduit out. Um,
Oh, right. Wu has a link. Macrophage is not nearly as good as printed.
yeah. Why didn't Nisei give Tao a link? Then I would have no complaints ever.
How does
uh,
not need a link.
no, Tao does definitely not need a link, and I won't be sad if Link does get phased out, or maybe
Yeah.
finds a new home. But
Hmm.
uh,
So I was wondering why we saw 1 credit on Flameout. The answer is Chameleon bouncing in and out of play, using those credits here and there. It is, in fact, not a Project Atlas. It is a Regolith mining license. But Regolith mining license represents a lot of money if you leave it on the table, and a lot of money could turn into another Anansi, for instance.
oh, I just realized this deck has Clearinghouse in it when looking in the archives.
Oh,
And double
very interesting.
dedication ceremony. I wonder if we missed a very, very exciting turn.
We may have. Right,
That
because none of those dedication ceremonies went on to ice, at least not ice that's currently installed.
yeah. So unless there's some cheeky chisels that we're not seeing, but wow, 3 Kashyyyks in the bin for Wu and 0 points. So either
Dang.
those got damaged out of hand, or we have the unluckiest Wu of all time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. I was going to ask why is Memory Diamond here, but Kashuk does explain that.
Yeah,
I
though
was
I
also going
feel
to ask why is Flameout not being sold, but again, that gives you 6. If you have some way to recur those Kashuk, having the
well, but
well,
so
no,
does
you've got the
Rizeki.
Doom Rig of 2 anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is three DZMZs, 3 Rizekis also gets you to the 6 on Kashyyyk, and then you've got
Hmm.
Pantograph and Euler, and even
Yeah.
Cyber Trooper to loot. Like I feel like the Memory Diamond and Flame is maybe a little bit excess here, but
Yeah. Flameout's nice with Chameleon, so I can see why it's there.
wait, hold on.
But
Someone is pointing out that this is in fact a big Wu deck because there's 6 cards in the grip, 14
oh,
cards in the stack,
oh,
and 36
oh.
cards in the heap. and then a lot more cards installed.
Wow, how did I miss that?
How could
It makes that artist colony look really good.
yeah, that artist colony makes a lot more sense when you're like, I just need to go and find the thing and get some rips. Oh, did I get time on the round? No, there's 5 minutes still. I did. Okay.
Man.
I'm getting
Yeah,
those.
so this is an even more interesting matchup than it looked at first. Still though, the situation still stands. There's a lot of stuff on the board for the runner, but with the ice that's rezzed, it isn't actually cheap to run. So still a bit of a stalemate, but that stalemate might start being broken. We're seeing a Docklands Pass come out, and we're seeing
Yeah.
HQ run. HQ seems juicy to me. Stuff hasn't, a few things have gone into this remote lately, but none that we're sure are agendas.
Yeah, and that with only 10 cards left in R&D, only 5 points scored. It makes a lot of
Oh,
sense that there's stuff in here. There's still stuff left
oh,
to install. I'm
there's still
impressed.
stuff to install. I love it.
Simulchip makes a lot of sense. Nothing to be found in archive. Oh,
Oh,
nope,
found a false
false
lead.
lead. And we see a second clearinghouse, regolith, mausolus. This does read to me like there's maybe another agenda in HQ.
I think so. The question is there an agenda in server one? Because if so, well, I'm starting to think no, because we probably would have just seen ADV,
Yeah,
ADV, ADV.
I would slam that advance button as fast as I could if it was.
Now, on 16 credits, do we see the Winchester that got access to go on to HQ? Do we see another ice go onto the remote? You have pressing needs to defend both of those servers, and honestly, you also have pressing needs to defend R&D.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they're putting something on the remote. Yeah, it feels like maybe this built to last deck doesn't quite have a way to deal with this Doom Rig board state that's ticking up 3 credits every turn. Like admittedly,
Admittedly, understandable.
yeah, I feel like most decks when facing this Woo deck, their plan should be, let's just win before turn 20, because
Yeah,
after turn 20, I probably am not going to win. So
but it's gotten to the point where that paperclip just got sold because, like, why do I care? I'll just install it for one.
yeah, it's a 2 credit drip. So
Ugh. Yeah, which on top of the 3 from Rizeki, that is a lot of credits that you're dripping in.
yeah, and it's very hard. Okay, Spin Doctor is nice here.
Hmm.
I would almost wonder if you want to shuffle back in before they access. You just pop the spin, shuffle, and then put in like a 2 government subsidies, or maybe even
Hmm.
your dedication ceremonies to make those pharaohs like untouchable.
Yeah.
Because
I would
yeah,
agree with you
dripping
for
5
sure.
every turn is great, but when pharaohs costs you 9 to break, that's
Hmm.
going to slow you down a lot. So
Yeah, and if you're going to pop Spin Doctor, obviously do it before the first conduit access so that you don't give them extra cards if they run again. But
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, a
okay.
GFI taken out of HQ
And a
and a Cyberdex. That
Cyberdex.
is
Yep,
game.
that's game. That's game.
Yep.
And
So
that's
you were reading it correctly. At least one more in HQ.
all right. And that was 15 seconds left on the round. So I'm gonna go see if.
Love that. Almost exact timing.
Yep, I'm gonna go to the table 12 and and that's done. Fantastic. So I'm gonna leave you to vamp while I go and record all of the. This is the old standings, but while I go and plug in stuff into the standings.
Excellent. 60 card woo with a win. That is honestly just amazing. I love seeing that. We've heard a lot about 99 card max. Um, we've seen hype videos about 99 card max, but 60 card woo, we haven't heard enough about that.
We have not heard enough about.
People should be talking.
I do think there is also a 99 card max in this tournament. So we have both this
Yes.
new virus max uh, as well as the classic 99.
Yeah, we truly have the wide range of max decks because we have these 45 card hyper optimized toolbox cookbook fermenter for 17 credits max decks. And we've got the 99 card max deck, and we've got the Woo. It's 60, and wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
This is
Also, very interesting to see built to last on Anansi.
yeah.
That's a really cool splash that I think people probably just don't understanding.
Yeah,
Don't
and
expect. Good lord.
I think there's like I can kind of see this neat idea of a deck where you could you use the Anansi to like get some damage. There's just like no one's expecting that out of Wayland, right? And so then you can use that to make your clearinghouses a little bit easier to land because it's just so much tempo for you.
Hmm. Now, I do have to respond to a comment that I'm seeing in the chat right now. Cranked is saying, if you play more than 45 cards, I'm blocking you. Well, Cranked, I guess you have to block me.
uh, let's see. Almost done with putting everyone in. I just cannot find a name on my list because that's how names work. I should have had people always submit corp first, but instead they're submitting them in name order. Oh,
Yeah.
and it's maybe just someone that's already. Yep, I already just had that report, and so I was looking for reports I didn't have. Okay.
All good. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out at the top here. I mean,
Yeah, now that everyone's played both of their decks, this is we're sort of like we've played
yeah.
for a little bit longer than we would have but sort of but now we're sort of at the end of round 1 of Swiss, even though it's called round 2. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, right. That's an interesting thing to talk about. How, like, kind of the way that this particular single-sided Swiss algorithm is designed. Is this designed to, like, you are much more heavily likely to keep side balance, or is it
so
much more likely to keep player skill or like
so
player results
I
balanced?
in the second round, it's guaranteeing that you will balance out. As we saw, there was some
Nice.
forced play ups. Like there's yeah, there's was forced play ups and play downs to make sure that
Hmm.
everyone balanced out in the end because I figure
Yeah.
you want to, it'll do its best to match the people with one win to one win, but it says let's make sure that everyone plays one game with each of their decks in the
Yeah.
first 2 rounds. Um, and it actually
Which,
it
yeah.
takes quite a while to get enough separation to have someone finish a tournament with a different amount of games played on their decks. It's relatively rare, which I'm quite happy with.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely seems like the right move.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember someone was talking about like, oh, I think the ideal system should have both players like alternate which sides they play, and that is almost what happens with this. There will be cases where now that
mhm,
we're all back to 0, someone who played Corp last round might play it again.
mhm.
But generally, you end up alternating in most cases here. All right, I am
Yeah, and
almost done
in
submitting.
most like single-sided algorithms, that's kind of how it happens, right? Like you might in a chess tournament, you might play the white pieces a few games in a row,
Yeah.
but it'll balance out at the end of the day.
All right.
Yeah, and I guess like the issue with getting paired up or getting paired down, especially in round one, I mean, basically, double-sided Swiss would do that to you anyway. So,
Yeah.
like, by definition, the second game, someone has to have one more win than the other.
Yes. Yeah. No. And that's like I was like, oh man, there's such a high percentage of pair up, pair downs by one. But then I went and did that same calculation for double sided Swiss, and I was like, oh, it's like 400% of the time because the
Yeah.
way you count it is every other round basically has a pair up, pair down. Um,
Hmm.
so I now have standings up. I will try and get those onto the
Excellent.
website. Um, let's just pair them around. Okay.
Are these pairings for round 3 that I'm seeing here?
These are pairings for round 3. Yep, and I will try and get them on the site. And hopefully, it was just that I made a dumb mistake last time and exported and saved files as the wrong type of thing, and not that there's something wrong with Solemn Storm's tool, which was working great last night, which makes me think that it is in fact a user side problem. Um,
Yeah,
so
not a problem. One thing that I'm seeing in the pairings for round 3, table 1, we've got Solemn Storm and Solomir.
cool. We will probably I will go sit in that table once it's up. That seems like a nice place to sit. So
Agreed. I'm gonna go look at the tournament list the best that
cool.
I can
All right, round yeah,
to
and
figure
actually
out.
let me pull up. I've got round 2 standings that I will pull up for
There we
now
go.
while people are want to look. So we've got yeah, we've got a lot of NBA. So we've got top, but a bunch of people at 6, basically kind of guaranteed. You've got 9 people
Hmm.
at 6 points. Um, a lot 4 max lists in the top 9 already. So
Wow. Hopefully one of them's that max 99.
hopefully,
It,
hopefully.
we need the weirdness. We need the weirdness to continue. It looks like Solemn Storm versus Solomir should be at least one deck that we have not seen yet because we've got a Sports Medal and a Steve
Mm.
for Solomir, and then Solemn Storm's got CTM and Val. Um, Yet another year that CTM versus Val is at the top tables in a tournament.
It will never the matchup that refuses to die until we rotate it.
Yep. As it
Okay,
should be.
perfect. And
Good,
then
honest Netrunner for the whole family.
all right, it does look like I just made a mistake last round. So yeah, this is the round 3 pairings as they shake out.
Excellent.
Hopefully people will get there. Um,
Now, I do have to call out there is a tragedy happening in these pairings for fans of New World Order. Pinsel is playing Lost Geek on table 2.
yes, that is unfortunate for them, for sure. All right, let me go and find table 1. Uh, um, okay. Sorry, just sorting out some surprising result. Some people that had stuff they weren't expecting. But
Mm.
I should go back and check to make sure that most tables are filled. Looks like tables are filled. So I'm going to do
Excellent.
timer. I really should look this up. This is round 3. My goodness, time is moving slowly and quickly at the same time. All right. Well, time. So time on the round. All right. So we've got Val and sports. I wonder if this is going to be sort of a world's winning combo sort of sports list, or if it's going to be a
Hmm.
little bit more reg, so to speak, where it plays real
Yeah.
ice. Well, this is
Yeah.
for those people that hate combo. This is not an auspicious start.
Yeah. Installing 2 things on the table, not playing a hedge fund, not installing an ice. It's a little bit suspect. Seems like a pretty good start on Val's side. We have an MK Ultra already in the bin, and we have an Earthrise down, and we have a Gamble played, just getting that value. And I think that Val probably having the same thought that you are, with not running either of these completely unprotected servers, just they're suspects. Those are agendas. That's game changer clicks.
Yep, I'm going to respond quickly. So, Simply the Onion asked, I assume it's important to never make a tournament with this version of Swiss with an uneven number of rounds. And then they say later, won't then everyone end up with +1 runner or corp? And that is true if you have an uneven number of rounds and an even number of players. when you start having odd numbers of players, you get really weird things happening to people's strength of schedules because a bye round is normally no side paired. In this tournament, I messed that up because a couple people missed the first round, um, but um, but generally, yeah, that's going to be you can run odd numbers of counts. It just means everyone will go home with a different number of games played with both sides, and that might be a
No,
reasonable solution. But we've been seeing exciting stuff happening, um, so we should get back to the game.
this is a very interesting trash. First of all, an interesting rebirth. We see a rebirth to Ed Kim. I think definitely a nod to thinking that this is some sort of combo sports. And then we see a trash of Boom with Ed
Yeah,
Kim.
that is.
Notably,
Oh,
Boom's
you
team
know what?
doesn't exist anymore.
That world's list did run a 1x boom as the news team punishment for if you
Yeah.
took the tags.
I'm
Uh,
wondering, did those news teams become HHNs?
or maybe they became Amaze Amusements, but news teams is still
True.
legal, right? Um,
News team was in Sansan, wasn't it? Or was it in Data and Destiny?
that's a great question that I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me
Uh,
Google it.
yeah, I, I actually, I was like, oh, I'm gonna instead of testing out important things
Oh,
like,
news team is Data and Destiny.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm just 100% wrong. News team's still in the game. It could,
I'm
in
gonna,
fact, be in archives right now. There are 3 face downs.
I'm gonna see if I can do my fancy transition for the stream. This is news team for those of you who are watching the stream. Um, I spent way too much time on this, and I realize I'm never going to be able to use it properly. So I'm going to use it just this one time, just to make myself feel like this work was worth it. But yeah. So if this is a combo sports list, news teams is nice because it goes into the runner score area, and if they leave the
Hmm.
tags around, you get to boom them instead. But
Val or Ed Kim now took the middle option, accessed a news team in HQ, and
okay.
chose to take the tags, trash the news team, clear one of the tags.
Yeah, I think you can probably sit on one tag, though with the turning wheel out, I don't know that I
Yeah,
like it as much.
I think letting the tag sit was just by necessity. There was only one click left because I agree. This
Hmm.
turning wheel is key to you winning.
All right, I'm gonna slowly fade out the news team now. All
Oh,
right,
interesting.
superconducting hub is very nice for sports because it can be,
Hmm.
if you're low on cards, it's saying draw 4, max hand size of 7, or in this
Hmm.
case, you just get the money back for scoring, basically. Uh,
Yeah, and the extra hand size is great for this style of sports because it means more cards in HQ to pad out your game changers, harder to find them, harder to trash them. Also just more room to hold news teams, but still have like a fast break that can help you win the game.
yeah, yeah. So
So
I wonder
fast
what.
break not doing much yet. Only one agenda. Val slash Kim has dodged agendas well so far.
Yep, and they've got everything but an NK in the bin. They're just drawing, clicking for credits. I hope, I think Solemn Storm's really hoping they have a keyhole or a couple of imps in their list, I think, is really
Mhm.
sort of what you want as tech to help you win. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
or just hitting HQ enough and hoping that you hit the the combo pieces rather than the agendas, which is really
Oh,
tricky.
Mega Priest scored off the table, which is unfortunate because the one agenda that actually has been taken by Val so far is a Mega Priest, so it's worth 2 points.
Yeah, that is rough for our Val Ed hero here. But conversely, sports is set up quite nicely. I guess does
Hmm.
team sponsorship rotated, right? That was in San San.
Sponsorship did rotate,
Though I
yes.
guess I don't remember if the world's list had team sponsorships in it or not. My gut says no, but um, yeah.
Yeah,
So
might
they're
not
just in
actually
the.
need them.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, another superconducting hub that is now a max hand size of 9. Who said cybernetics court rotated?
Who said it? I definitely was. I've been trying to figure out if there's still a dedication Rikoko combo list, and I was like, well, I could slot a 1x Sport Hub to like fill out my 18th agenda point in precision design. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Interesting.
a nice Stargate there. I almost wonder if you would take the Jeeves, but I guess you really don't want them to score a 3-2.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Because the kind of the way that the sports medal thrives is it has to score a number of points just the old-fashioned way, off the table, out of remotes, whatever it is, because your threat, like the real threat, is the runner gets up to a lot of agendas in the score area, you game changer, you score out 3 to 5 points and you win the game.
mhm.
But oh, here's a Vatron going into archives.
Ooh boy, so that is. I mean, presumably there's a spin doctor down, right? Um, but that's
Oh,
five
geez, yeah.
5 points just sitting out. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's the game if there's no spin doctor. So I feel like you just have to run archives here,
Yeah,
and then maybe do a big dig on R&D. Though with
yeah.
two, it's they still can't win, so you're pretty safe to just like dirty laundry, or if you have a dirty laundry, presumably. I'm just saying that because it was top of my mind. But I feel like run
Well,
archives
you can
here.
only see one new card on R&D, correct? Because
Well, so what I'm thinking is you run archives, and then
Mhm. Oh, I see what you
they
see.
have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
spin doctor back, and then you can go for a big R&D dig.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a way to end this potentially.
Yeah.
Going to continue to Stargate.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing two archived memories here can only not throwing either of them in the trash,
Yeah.
throwing the superconducting
I'm
hub
gonna
out.
just wait. The we so I guess it's just trying to trash as much stuff as possible, but it seems weird to not run archives, or am I just missing the line completely?
I, I I'm with you. I thought running archives was a good line here. It does force you to encounter that news team, so that does make your life a little bit difficult. Well, just hitting it in HQ anyway, though.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess when you're only on two agenda points, they really can't score out.
Yeah,
Um, so
right. Because a game changer only gives them the one extra click, and they can't even score out of Vacheron off the table without two game changers.
yeah.
Yep, and there it goes. That
Oh,
is the game.
that's rough. Yeah, I mean, presumably some of those servers are spin doctors.
Presumably, yeah.
But
Yeah, game Spin Doctor seems like it actually does a lot of good things for this deck because weakness is they get enough agendas into archives that they can just win in a single run. And Spin Doctor is currently the best card in the game at preventing that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Doing that,
Yeah, Game Changer
sprint and spin
Sports.
doctor helps a lot with making this deck more consistent. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if that sort of yeah, we'll see. I part of me is like, man, carnivore just destroys this list. But that's because
Well,
I'm too emotionally invested in carnivore now. So
is that part of why we're seeing this Virus Max list pop up? You get
probably.
continual imp counters to trash things.
Yeah, we did see an imp in that list. It's probably a 1x, but you're max, so you'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. Do you want to head to maybe table 4 is movable object and Sanjay?
How about it? Is this Sanjay's
This is Sanjay's runner.
Jasminder deck?
Yes, this is his Jessminder
Excellent.
deck. So I guess we did see movable objects corp before, so
Mm.
maybe that's an argument to go somewhere else. But I see Jessminder with a DJ Quetzal, and I'm like, I can't leave that.
The
Um,
people need the content. The people need this content.
um,
I'm already sold. Yeah. Now, we are coming in at potentially a late stage in the game, I am
Mhm.
seeing 5 points in the built to last score area. I'm seeing an Atlas counter there as well. We are potentially one audacity away from this game being over.
Yeah, and just I was about to say Woo, but no, it's just Minter. Is
Hmm.
got something of a rig up, but a little bit less than Sanjay would probably like. The Penny Shaver is a very Penny Shaver and Shaper is a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Um, Hot Pursuit, Ottman. Well, I'm a little bummed. We're probably near the end here. Yeah,
Oh,
adding the
yep.
Atlas to
Atlas
hand.
grabs Atlas.
That's gonna be all she wrote.
Yep. That will do it.
That will do it. Well,
Interesting to see, right? Unity. I am not used to seeing four programs in play and Unity at one strength.
yeah, that is less common, I think, than maybe they were expecting when playtesting Unity. So, and another T400 memory diamond. I thought this card was never going to leave the binder once you left uh, startup, but apparently even in Shaper, you need even more MU. So,
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting happenings today. Let's see. Uh we can see if table 3 is still up. That is an Asa versus Loop matchup.
ooh, well that's got my interest. I see it up. Oh
It
no, it's
just ended.
done. Okay, just our luck. Um,
It
oh,
just ended, and it looks like it was a classic
Skunk
A
Void.
Void Skunkworks score out.
Yep, yep. Loop at 0 credits. 25 cards left in the stack. This was a fast game. That's turn
Hmm.
9 that the Corp won there. That is something else.
Turn
Um,
9 wins scoring 4 agendas. Asa can go pretty fast.
yeah. Um, let's see what else could be interesting here. Um,
We've got Asa versus Hoshiko on table. That's got 4 spectators. Never mind.
Table 11 is gonna have um, Precision Design against Edward Kim.
How about it? Edward Kim.
Yep, table 11. Uh,
Yeah, not seeing any rebirths anywhere. This is just an Ed Kim that showed up to work today and has a Begalter on the table, in fact, choosing to go with the more efficient Sentry Breaker rather than MK, which you can install clicklessly. Also seeing a Buzzsaw as the decoder.
so this is probably, but there's also an MK. That's so interesting that they're going to run a
Oh,
mix
interesting.
of
Yeah.
install breakers and install from the heap breakers. I feel like that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah. Also seeing in the heap Boomerang.
Yeah.
So some of the influence spent is going there.
Oh, I like the Mayfly Wanton Destruction combo as well. Just
Ooh.
guarantee that lands.
I I love that. I do in fact love that. I'm gonna scroll through the chat log to see if that happened because that is just too good.
Um, yeah, I really should. Oh, you know what? I can fix that before the next round. Put my thinking cap on. um, Sorry, I'm just trying to get some entries in so I don't get quite as far behind this time. But
Oh good. Yeah, so the
the
game did
Vacheron
just
ticked
end.
down, and that was it.
Vacheron ticked down. Yep. If you steal those early, it helps quite a bit. In this case, Stolem looks like about I forget Vacheron math, turn 7, turn 6, something like that. That
Yeah,
helps quite a bit because Corp was not able to quite get there
yeah. I was
scoring out.
when I was playing combo Rikoko lists, it was like, oh, if it gets getting once it was stolen on turn 2 or 3, I was like, this game got a lot harder. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so
Um,
Let's see. Let's see. Where?
games that are still up. I'm gonna click into a few games and see if they're still going.
Sounds good. Um, I'm going to adjust my form so that I can.
Yeah. So, table 8 is still going. That is a I believe that's the max we've seen before versus precision design. Let
Okay.
me confirm that by looking. So that one is still going.
Cool. I will be
Um,
there in just a moment. Okay. Sorry. Which table was this?
table 8.
Cool.
Current board state's kind of interesting. So if this is indeed the same max list that we saw before, we may have figured out what the last influence are that we didn't see before. There is a tranquilizer in the heap right now.
Oh, interesting. That so we
Yeah.
did say there was 3 unspent influence, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe tranquilizer is 3 influence.
It is. And
Uh,
tranquilizer actually seems pretty sick out of this max because with Simulchip, you have ways to install it at the end of the corpse turn. With Cookbook, it comes down with 2 counters. Then
mm-hmm.
your turn starts and you get a D-res.
Yeah, instant, basically, effectively instant speed derez. And in fact, if there's a hive mind out, you don't even need to. You can probably
True.
install it from hand and guarantee a derez. So you don't even need the simul chip, which
Mm-hmm.
is very, very nice.
So with the Simulchip, obviously, if you install it from hand, you can get it at instant speed effectively. Like the Corp ends their turn thinking, I have this wonderful Anansi ready to protect server 1, and then you say no.
No, you don't. You can pay 8 to have it again, and then it goes away again. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Now, that said, we have a bit of a rig down on the virus side of the board, but we also have 6 points in the precision design score area.
yeah,
And an interesting mix of agendas. We've got some Cyberdex sandboxes, we've got some off world offices, so a mix of sandbox and off world office. And obviously, we've got the luminal transubstantiation as well.
yeah.
Just an amazing 3-2 if you can score it.
Luminal is one of the best three. I mean, all of the 3-2s, I think. I think the Jinteki 3-2 is probably the weakest. This
And
has
it's
a
still quite strong, I
oh,
think.
it's quite more recursion is very very good. It's recursion and hand management, which is very good on the three. That's a non-blank ability on a 3-2, which is good.
Hmm.
Luminal, I think, ha- in my mind, is one of the best. But I say that as a HB degenerate combo player. Um, so I could see why I might be a little biased. But all
Yeah,
right.
so interesting board state. The runner needs to kind of start getting things going to steal some points because precision design is one biotic away from the win
Mm-hmm.
when they have one more credit.
I do. I am impressed that they drew to a 9 card hand.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that was just a. Oh, that might have just been a fix for something. I'm not sure. Yeah, something interesting's going on this board
Yeah,
state.
I think that's what the case is.
Oh, maybe they were fixing a card they wanted to shuffle, but um,
That yeah, that would do it. Now, an interesting influence spend that I see in archives right now, I see one copy of Lacosta Grid.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that as well. It's an interesting choice. I feel like you have seamless launch in faction,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like you need to be running something like, are you running Biovault as well? But at that point, I'm like, oh,
Mm.
maybe you should be running um, Anoetic Voids instead.
Yeah, yeah, definitely an interesting call going for the Costa because it can't even be like a Tranquility home grid because they're both regions. Um, which I've seen a few Tranquility home grids out of sports in recent lists.
Yeah, it's Tranquility Homegrid. I think I'm starting to give a second look at, or take a second look at now that there's a little bit more, like with some of the losses of cards that we got for like losing Cybernetics Court. I'm like, well, I now want more ways to draw and cards to install in ASA, and maybe you give it a second look.
Hmm.
So, um,
We see the first labor rates get fired off for Max, getting back pure gas, rebirth, Simulchip, Simulchip.
oh,
Ooh.
nice. And they just install. I forgot. Is that
They had the I've had worse to
yeah?
immediately draw all of them and rebirth into. Okay, not rebirth into. That's an undo click.
uh,
Rebirth into no one.
Rebirth into whoops. Um, I missed. Is the fermenter's just been sitting up and ticking up value here?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, oh, I don't see it in the log. I wonder if it's really supposed to be there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. Okay. So
Now, obviously, server one's very threatening right now.
yeah,
Server one could just be the game.
but fermenter for 8 helps a lot with breaking these remotes.
Hmm. If
Yeah.
there is a
Border
different
control.
Jinteki upgrade on this remote, this is very bad news for Max.
Well, I think probably border control is going to be enough here, right? You
Yeah,
make
it
them
is. Yep.
you make them
That
spend
res
the
also.
virus
Yep.
counters or paperclip money, but you just boop them and hope that you were bold enough to put the winning agenda down there. Um,
Hmm. Right, and with Max on 0 points, there is very little downside
yeah,
to throwing to just jamming there.
agreed, agreed. I could see why you might not because it does feel intimidating, but with Max being out of
Oh,
the stack,
well,
oh,
is you don't get to Skunkworks and border control, correct?
that's correct.
Anymore? Yeah, so actually this could be.
Oh, it
Oh,
was
it's a Rashida.
Rashida.
Okay. So yeah, that not a misplay at all. That
Nope.
is just extracting maximum value out of this run.
Yeah, no, it's I think you would have loved to save that Skunkworks and put it in when there's
Hmm.
actually an agenda there, but Max was it, got 10 credits and those are all gone now. So,
Yeah.
um, that's a pretty fair exchange. You do need to
Hmm.
click back up so that you can hopefully buy out. I hope they're running at least some Vitruviuses so they can biotic out a win, because this does get
Yeah.
harder if you can't do that for
Yeah.
sure.
The agenda suite definitely an interesting question based on what we see. Are there any 5/3s in here? Given the mix of Sandbox and Off-World Office, Sandbox obviously you love to have 3 of those because the second one just basically says score this and win the game.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, and like these 4 twos are really powerful. If you score
Hmm.
two, I mean, yeah, two corporate war isn't quite as good as or off-world offices. Corporate war being the worse version of this card
Yeah.
that I played a lot of when I was a younger Netrunner. Um, I
Hmm.
loved me some Grindel corporate war. Um,
Ooh. That's very on flavor for Grendel too.
yeah, but off-world office is all upside, no down. Um,
Hmm.
but 2 of those is 14 credits, which is, you know, not.
Hmm.
I could see why you would be tempted to run off-world offices, sandboxes, and then maybe the luminal to round you out. That's
Yeah.
6, 6. So maybe 2 Vitruviuses I could see being in this list.
Yeah. Yeah. Or potentially, yeah, potentially the off-world offices. You have the full set of Vitruvius. You have the full set of Sandbox. You have one Luminal. That puts you on 7 agendas. You need 2 more. Maybe they're just off worlds.
You only need one more, right? I guess because it's 18 points. So we need 9 2-pointers. 3 Sandbox, 3 Vitruvius, Luminal, and 2
Yeah,
off-world
yeah, 2 off
boxes.
worlds. Yeah.
Yep, okay. We got there. We can count.
It is admittedly very hard to count. Let's see. Taking a think here on Precision Design's side, understandable. You're quite poor as Precision Design at this exact moment.
Yeah, I think it is somewhat tricky to figure out what exactly you want to do as precision design here.
Yeah,
Though,
this is a serious tank, though. In theory, you'd want to probably draw for the turn first. Okay. Okay, start of the turn. Okay, we have an install. And an install.
wondering if that's Skunkworks again. Really
Definitely
want
seems like the time for it. Yeah.
some money, though.
And 1 credit. Hey, you only said some money. You didn't say how much.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. You can't score unless you have Skunkwork. If you're resing with Skunkworks, you also need Seamless Launch here to score.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which could be the case.
the inner ice on server 1 is a Hagen for the chat.
Yeah, so to get through this remote, you have to spend 2 on border control.
Yep.
At the moment, you have to spend 4 on Hagen because of strength.
Yep. And
So it is not a cheap remote.
you can't really use the botchless counter. I guess you could use it once.
Yeah.
But then you probably
Yeah.
lose your hive mind, which I think is a pretty key piece to the deck.
Yeah, so you probably spend a counter off of Hive Mind, I would guess.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that counts as being hosted on Botulus.
Yeah. Now if border control, so if you click through Skunkworks, then you're left with just enough to get back through if you let them trash your Hive Mind. Now, oh, hold on. If they click through Skunkworks, then you can't border control. So actually, the math isn't quite as friendly to the Corp here as it seems.
No, and that is a big change from with the timing change. It does make Skunkworks works really well with other approach triggers and very poorly with paid ability triggers, which is I think part of why it's worded the way it is to some degree. But it definitely makes things a little bit tricky.
Yeah, so I imagine that was some of the mental calculus that was happening for Precision Design was at what point do I need to fire border control? At what point do I need to res Skunkworks?
Yeah.
As you point out, barring some trick in hand, resing the Skunkworks means you do not have money to actually win next turn.
Yeah, so you would love to not do that if you could get away with it for sure.
We see the Skunkworks res. That will allow Max to get in. I would assume with clicks, since if you use clicks, you get to trash.
Yeah, yep, that makes a lot of sense.
And see whatever else is in this server.
Yep, I wonder if that's... It could be the third Rashida, but an off-world office makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, one that you couldn't score either way.
Yeah.
Unless you have two seamless launch.
Yep. And Max is fairly low, like, let's see, they've got 2 labor rights. Or they've got 1 labor rights in hand and one in the heap. So they're starting to run out of tools. Slowly but surely you might be able to run them out and just, you could probably feed them 2 more points if you really have to.
Yeah, this ice is important because the simulchip install does mean that you can break it basically gives you an extra break with Botulus. for 0 credits. So that Hagen is now blank for a single turn.
Mm. Yeah, that is true. And that's a big deal. Or this, okay, they're undoing the turn because I
Mm,
think they didn't realize that they had no money, which is something that's I often do when I'm playing on Jinteki and I go, oh wait, I don't have
yeah.
any money.
Yeah, harder to look over and just see that your pile of credit tokens is all in the container. Here, the number is just slightly lower.
See, all the
So,
Corp wins this
wonder
round.
what the play is now, given that it will probably not be install ice, install in remote. Gain 1. So we
Alright, so
see install in
install in the
remote.
remote still. I'm wondering if it's just going to be
Hmm.
click for 2 credits.
Yeah, this could be a good moment for. Oh, let's check archives. How many Rashidas are accounted for? 2 Rashidas are accounted for. This would be a good moment for a third because it's sort of a win-win.
Yep.
If if they get in and they spend their simul chip, then that is one less tool that they have to break this remote on such a low credit total. But if they don't get in, then that probably finds you the tools you need to win the game and could potentially win the game outright if you find a biotic.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, that's definitely what you're hoping for here. This is one of the
Hmm.
last 2 games left in this round. Very nice. Um, with just a tiny bit of time left on the round. I should go and find the other game just in case.
So clicking to gain a credit, running through border control.
And then,
Hitting Hagen.
yep, so we'll see. Probably you break it once, then simulchip, break it a second time. Oh, okay, gonna use the hive mind counter instead.
Yeah, I think you save the simul chip for if you have to run back because they border control, because it refreshes Botulus with 2 counters.
Okay,
And
yep,
it
and
is
that was the
indeed that
Rashida.
Rashida.
Yep.
Yeah.
So obviously you would
So
love to
simul
fire
chip.
that as the corp, but
Yeah.
oh, interesting. Using the simul chip to power up your hive mind here.
Yeah. I wonder if this signals
Ah, the
Fermenter.
fermenter. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Yep, because that's
Go up to 9 credits. Yeah. You have the one. Right. So we're down to the last 2 labor rights.
yep, and you're gonna
What
have to
we
spend.
could see.
So you're gonna see
Oh, sorry.
5 cards cycled because you have to get the last labor rights back as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would not be shocked for one of those cards to be something that you can. So Simulchip, maybe you trash this paperclip and you get back Conduit,
mm-hmm.
because Conduit, you now have the hive mind on Progenitor, which makes your Conduit very powerful.
Yeah, conduit is in hand, I think, just on the fact that
Oh, it
it's
is.
not in the
Okay.
heap.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yep. Looking through the heap, it is definitely not there. Turtle potentially an option in that case, right? Turtle's pretty good.
yeah, for sure, and it does count as a breaker to help you get stuff to get Hagen down as well.
Yeah. And it very quickly, given the hive mind on 2 credits, it very quickly solves your drafter problem too.
Yes, yeah. Just need a single run, and with Knob Create, it becomes you can run archives, and then it's solved for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is time on the round.
Oh, well, that is not the best news for Max. It does so accepting a splash of influence that we haven't seen yet. That does mean that Max will get a turn to try to tie or win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's definitely a possibility here. Um,
Yeah, but it all comes down to this last Max turn. Now, this is this is the right moment to try to push something in server 1, because the simul chips are gone, the labor rights is still in hand.
yeah,
It takes an extra click to do anything for
and it
Max.
also takes like if you're gonna labor rights, you have to be spending. Okay, now that you've rebirthed, Yeah, that's very interesting. So you're just running R&D once to get the counter.
Yeah, you get a counter and you get so you can now see 6 cards with conduit is
Yeah,
what this boils down to.
yeah,
Assuming that you can get through the ice, which I think gatekeeper is the only thing that you can't get through. That's
yes.
likely to that's resable from here and that's likely to be in this list.
Yep, and a gatekeeper res I think like wins you the game if you're happy
Yep.
here, but it looks like that's not going to be it. Um,
And this is a deep dig.
wow,
How many are in R&D is a real question. It not enough are in R&D.
not enough, and that's going to make it
That is
so
game.
that of the 17 tables, we have 2 runner wins this round.
Wow.
uh,
I heard it was a runner meta though. Someone told me I should play Titan because I just had to luck second wins.
uh, all right. Well, that was spicy. Um,
It was indeed. I guess either just got unlucky with accesses there, or maybe they're all in HQ.
yeah, maybe. It's starting to, you know, with no money, that means there's no
Hmm.
econ operations in HQ and no ice installs. You do start to maybe take a second look at that and go, I wonder.
Yeah. Either way, that is a win for Asa. Sorry, not for Asa. For Precision Design, it is definitively not a win for Asa.
All right.
Which puts us at the end of the round. So,
Yep, and I believe if I go back to Roughneck Repair Squad, round 3 standings should be up. All right, so we got 2 maxes. We got a lot of max at the top. Um, but yeah, if you want to, here I can TM you this, and also we'll have another person joining us so that it's not just you having to vamp
excellent.
quite so much. Um, and let me shoot you.
Which I'm happy to do, but at a certain point, I run out of things to say that are intelligent or
Yeah.
even halfway intelligent.
You've been doing a fantastic job. Thank you for coming in and really helping me uh, manage more things at once than I think I thought I was doing. This was a lot easier when it was a 12-person tournament and it was just 6
Yeah.
tables, so it's less upkeep on my end.
Yeah, so I see your point about Max. There is, of the 5 players currently undefeated, 3 of them are on Max. The other 2 are on Criminal. So we've got the Steve and we've got Isaiah. On the Corp side, things are a little more diverse among that group, though. Similarly split among. Actually, no, they're not more diverse because we've got 2 HBs, we've got a Precision Design, and we've got a Sports Medal. And sorry, 3 HBs because there's also an ASA, and then we've got an Outfit and a Built to Last. So people converging on HB and Wayland, and then Anarch and Crim, the top tables.
Yeah, well, so I'm not surprised that people haven't figured out if there's a good Shaper deck with only a week with the new cards and Shaper being
Mm-hmm.
having such a different econ base than they had before.
Yeah.
Um, it does not surprise me too much.
Right. The highest rated shapers at the moment are Jasminder, which obviously, I mean, Jasminder is just such a power ID. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, and
And then
it
Tau.
only got stronger with the release of Funhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um,
So it is definitely interesting to see Jasminder, kind of like of the top shapers, one of the top 2. Definitely an interesting thing to see.
all right, and we've actually got. I was on top of my stuff this time, and we've
Nice.
got. Whoops, nope, that's same page. We've got pairings up already. Um,
Fantastic.
Well, I've got to say, I did not expect to see Jesminder myself.
oh yeah, we've got our third host on. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Gerrark. Thank you for letting me be here. I'm very happy to commentate on practically my favorite game out there, and it's great to be here. Sounds like the tournament's been going well so far.
Yeah, we're probably a little bit behind where I was hoping to be, but you know, we make it. We'll make it through.
Just Mender, really?
Um, but yeah, we're going into round four. We're going to have a lot of odd, awkward pairings to some degree. A lot of people with +1
Mhm.
corpse playing against other people with +1. Actually, we might have a lot of pair downs. Actually, now that I think about it, because when it's
Hmm,
just a one position difference, it tends to kind of favor pairing down a little bit. Um,
Mm.
makes sense.
you know, we'll see how people feel about it. I should probably put together my survey at some point soon. But yeah, we've got a lot of corp heavy people at the top. Um,
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I believe I heard you
Yeah.
mention it definitely seems like people are favoring HB and Wayland, which I guess doesn't surprise me considering the past.
hmm Let's
yep.
see. Of the top tables, Longi is on decks that we have not seen yet.
Cool. Let's head over to that's table
That
4.
is that's table 4, yeah. So that would we're going to see, it looks like, a Zaya list here.
Ooh, we have
Cool.
not seen a Zaya yet today. Yeah, that sounds great. Um, is it up yet or?
Yep, they're
Yeah,
getting
they're
it going
currently
right
up.
now.
Last.
Oh, there we are. Fantastic. All right, we saw Procomus's. Yeah, that was the max list we saw Procomus's, but we haven't seen
Yep.
their other list. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. We've got a couple of tables still waiting for people, so
Zaya versus Asa feels like a pretty match made in heaven situation. Very interesting
hmm
matchup, I hope.
yeah. So
This is what we expected the meta to be.
yeah, just as a note for people in the stream who might be interested in the single sided Swiss, we've had our first repairing where Shiga and Terraficy are facing each other, but they're facing each other with the
Ooh.
opposite decks as what they've played before. Um, so that is something that's currently being done in this system, which is um, I think you kind of need that for a small tournament. With something of this size, I might be able to turn that option off, but I figured it's easier to leave it on. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. It's
Uh,
man, looking at that ID, I really do love how Zaya turned out. Really nice look for her. I think she might be one of my more favorite IDs of this set.
yeah, she's a very nice
Really cool
ID.
ability.
Yeah, I think it's a very very crim.
hmm
Yeah, and you know, I also I think the art on all of Gateway is such a you know, like Ashes was good, but Gateway is just such a, like, you can see the experience the team has gained. Um,
Absolutely. It's,
so
I agree 100%. I actually like Ashes and Downfall a good bit, but it's like you can see such a significant difference in many ways between them. And I really like Gateway, how it turned out.
hmm
uh, yeah, sorry. There's
Yeah,
one.
Zaya definitely one of my favorite IDs out of the new ones. Just it feels extremely crim. Get in early, get in often, get lots of accesses, spend
Get
the
that
powerful
money.
tools that you have because you get money for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Legwork's so good. That new
Mm,
Docklands pass, pull a lot of weight. I mean, it's got her on it. Of course, you want to put it in her.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know it's I'm always tempted to put conduit in, um,
hmm
Of course, of
just to
course.
get that maximum value. Uh, you know, you can even save it for the last click on your conduit, so you can get the most possible money out of it.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so we'll see exactly what tools this Zaya list is on. We'll also see Asa, exactly what this Asa is on. There's definitely an Asa list that we've seen a fair amount of,
Mm-hmm.
but there are, you know, there are probably 4 or 5 distinct Asa lists that are all defensible at the moment.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
that is
Asa.
just about the best possible Asa start.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The only, your
Triple
hope
install VLC. Mwah, chef kiss.
That's some
before your
value.
opponent gets out the GLHF, you're like, I know what I'm doing. Slam, slam, slam.
You didn't need to wish me good luck. I already had it.
Yep, and that's a
Ooh,
Hagen. I feel like that if you're resing the Hagen there, that's a Rashida,
that's
100%.
definitely
Yeah.
Rashida.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. This is a 45 card Zaya.
Oh,
Couldn't find
that's
the
a good
5
call.
cards they wanted to cut.
Look, I get it. I'm bad at cutting even one card. So, give me a list where I have to cut 5. It's impossible.
I do feel like you're going to see a fair amount of these 40 card IDs packing at least 1 or 2, getting to 41 and 42.
Mm-hmm. Slots are very difficult. Speaking of slots being difficult, we have a slot machine on HQ. Yeah, like you like that? Does get the full, well, not the full value, but the full not magical Christmas land value of paying for it. Which
Yeah.
honestly, out of Asa, kind of huge to get it to pay for itself,
Yeah.
because that just gives you, like, if this is a Rashida, you now actually have money to really threaten a score the next turn,
Mhm.
versus having to maybe try to install another remote and try to find a fully op or something like that.
Yeah. And I think for this Asa, like this is such a gorgeous start, really, because you're going to,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get better than this.
yeah, a Penny Shaver going down this late seems a little, like why not? I might have tried to install that before you run HQ, and yeah, it was the Rashida
Yeah.
because of course it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Rashida VLC.
Why would it ever
like,
not be?
I feel bad. It doesn't. To some degree, Longy just needs an insane opening here because now it's going to be making you remote and then fully op, and you're like,
Yeah.
you probably just take the money on this one. But I
Yeah.
could see the argument for drawing at least once. Oh, they're going to delay a
Yeah.
turn.
Deciding to protect R&D, I guess saying, unless you have a boomerang down and you're willing to spend, well, we
There
have a
it is.
boomerang. I was gonna
there
say,
we go.
things feel pretty safe in remotes right now, but
Yeah.
here we have a diversion of funds. Unlikely, I would say. Like I've been playing some diversion of funds in this meta, and something that I've found is there are a number of decks that are very good at ducking it. Asa not always good at ducking it, especially from 7.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
you are likely to get the full value here.
Yeah. It's like maybe they can't res enough assets that are protected really to make it
Yeah.
not worth your time to diversion. And if you do that anyway, your server 2 will probably be unprotected. Okay, so
Yep.
do you see? Oh
Which
wow,
there it
MC and
is.
Jeeves. So they make a fool out of me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an MC and a Jeep, so you get 4 credits of value here from diversion, which is still pretty good. You get to shuffle back the boomerang, but yeah, you now get to click for 3 and also MCA,
Yeah.
which is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic hand and start to the game for Asa here.
Yet very well sequenced, kind of everything in the order it needed to be as well. So just kind of a textbook start for this Asa.
One thing I've been telling people recently is in Netrunner, it's not necessarily that there's so much wrong moves. There's moves in a very wrong order. And this Asa has done everything in the right order here, it feels like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Taking a bit to think here.
Yeah.
My guess is,
Yeah.
yeah. This also could just be click for 3 fully op. But yeah, click for 3 MCA.
Yeah, I'm a little
You have
surprised.
the fully op next turn.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit with a fully op in hand. That's so much more efficient than clicking credits for Jeeves. This is again. I mean, maybe this is me overreading, but I'm like, I wonder if there's like agendas in HQ that they're like trying to keep the density low for slot machine pokes, but
Makes sense.
I'm
Especially
I'm
if
wondering
they
if
get
it
that
really-
anomaly fast down.
I'm wondering if it really is just a like longer term efficiency thing. Like if I click for 3 here, then next turn I get to install 2 things, install a thing fully op.
True, and Asa is, I mean, feels like they're kind of in control of the board right now entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
that
this Jeeves is going nowhere. This
yeah.
MCA is going nowhere.
Though I mean, like Penny Shaver is not nothing. Like it's not anything yet, but it is. It helps a lot, or it would help a lot. Well, okay, yeah, this
There's
is
that thing.
Here we go. Here's the fully
yeah,
op.
fully up drawing twice.
Drawing
I
pretty
like that.
aggressively here, and
Yeah,
then gaining 4 off of it.
yep, and then hopefully you drew into another fully up. Seen a little bit under half your
Ugh.
deck. It's plausible.
Another fully op is pretty gross here. Obviously, just clicking MCA also pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Limit
that's
the
also
amount
a
of things that
card.
the runner can do.
Yep, and you know that server 3 could very well just be a value spin doctor.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's what
So
I'm guessing, right? Like
very
you
low risk.
overdraw with this fully op, you throw the agendas and archives, you spin Doctor and back, so you haven't actually done anything bad. That's ooh.
And you've just sculpted your hand to perfection.
Yeah, so what does Zaya need to do to really get back in this game?
That's a great question. I like one more boomerang diversion does get you a long way. Um, though I wonder if you want to go and kill the MCA first.
Yeah.
That MCA really feels like it's got to go. Either that or really start hammering R&D if they have some ability to do so.
I guess the
Mhm.
other option, and like this is tricky because I don't know what's in Longy's deck. I would say I'm the I have 37 cards left in my stack. I have drawn 3 times this game, and Asa has drawn half their deck. I really should
Yeah.
be looking for some draw here because they're going to have a
Mhm.
lot of problems to present me, and right now I only have my opening mulligan basically of answers.
Yeah. Yeah, it might feel slow to draw right now, but it isn't. It definitely
One thing that you
you
can
need to
like
find
we can
tools.
look at this board and say, oh, Asa's in such a good position, but all Asa can do here is score. Like they can probably score a 5-3 out of hand,
Mhm.
but that doesn't like win in the game. They still have to
Oh,
get 4 more agenda points. Oh,
oh, interesting.
Interesting. Didn't expect
Throws
that.
down the boomerang. I was wondering why the boomerang wasn't going on the Hagen to
Yeah.
clear out the MCA, but gets a Vitruvius for the troubles there and still has the boomerang active.
yeah. I mean that presumably only a Jeeves is going to go in that server just for fully up value in the future. Um,
Hmm. Now here we have, oh man, the ace of value once again. MCA,
There it
pop
is.
the MCA, throw
oh
an extra ice on server 1 because I want the ice there eventually anyway. And
Exactly.
just
get that
score Cyberdecks out of hand.
Into
get
a
the nice
hedge
Asa
fund.
trigger, and then get your hedge fund value off purging the sandbox. That's
They
Yeah,
just went.
credit perfect too. Credit
Yeah.
perfect to get the hedge fund after the ice install. We're witnessing an Asa clinic here. I don't even know we can say that Zaya's done anything wrong or incorrect here. It's just that Asa has had a good hand and played it well.
yeah. I think maybe Criminal could have drawn a bit more aggressively. When you see the aces start this quickly, you need to like
Hmm.
be. You're not going to win by single access poking at that point. You really kind of need to
Yeah.
get your disruption tools on online.
Oh, for sure.
Now we see 2 installs go down in server 1. This definitely seems like it is probably
Gotta be
like this is
Skunk Works,
definitely
right?
threatening Skunkworks or Void and an agenda.
Definitely.
I mean, if we really want to say that this ace of draw is absolutely nuts, it's threatening the second sandbox, right?
I would be pretty surprised, honestly, if it was not both a defensive upgrade and an agenda and a cyber dex. Almost certainly. I mean, like you said, drove through half their deck. It's just going to get them that much more money, put them so far ahead.
Yeah.
The only thing that could stop them is not drawing it.
Hmm. Right. So the Jeeves, like the Jeeves is a huge thing here, right? Because we've got MCA austerity policy. Obviously, one of the classic problems with MCA austerity policy is it drains one of your clicks every single turn, but Jeeves says you still get to do 3 things and also click MCA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's actually kind of that's a nice bit of deck building and a nice way that this game's played out from Ace's perspective.
Getting rid of that Jeeps is extremely necessary at this point, especially if that is that other Cyber Dex.
Mm-hmm.
Of
I
course, if they
need.
still have Seamless, that doesn't necessarily stop them, but
I'm feeling like
Right.
like 2 monitors isn't enough for me here. I've got the game, I've got the stream, and I need like 2 things for tournament management here. But oh well. But MCA down in server 3 seems like a rough threat for sure for the runner
Mm-hmm.
here.
absolutely.
Yeah, just once again slowing the runner down so much. Not threatening a score in server 1 unless it's a Vitruvius or something like that at the moment, but I mean, you don't need to threaten to score to put a ton of pressure on the runner because this MCA is just going to tick up and in the meantime continue to make this Zaya slower. Still 33 cards on the stack, has not seen a lot of the tools in the deck yet.
Yeah, I
No.
wonder if that's a Skunkwork Void in server 1.
Oof.
Just
Setting
prepping
that up
early.
for the
Yeah.
future.
Well,
Yeah.
doing some of that draw, Class Act at least finally came down, got them that much needed uh, deck filtering. There we are. That's the word.
Mm-hmm. Deuces as well. Deuces, there was a point in time when Deuces wasn't seeing much play, but Deuces has really just picked up. It is such a good value card to be on and kind of, it helps you draw through your deck. It helps you do weird stuff like charge up Turtle or remove a tag when it matters, but Deuce is just a solid value card that we're seeing here. Now, Bravado comes out. Where is the Bravado going?
I could see going
Interesting.
HQ or R&D here.
Agreed.
Oh. Just
Okay, just
value
just
Barado.
bouncing off vanilla.
Man,
I would have liked to see R&D there, I think.
yeah, I would.
The
I
the
think,
danger is right, the danger is like a gatekeeper or a drafter fire.
yeah, and as someone who's played a lot of Ace, those are scary triggers to let happen for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Right,
that
like
becomes
actually
that becomes a Rashida in server 1 and a fully op added back to hand. So
right. Yeah, so actually going somewhere you don't know the ice very dangerous given what's in archives right now.
Very true. God, Drafter Fire might just be game, honestly. Like, how are they not set up for success after that?
yeah, it often was for me last year. It was just, oh, I got a drafter fire. That's GG. Which is only true because Ace has got so many other silly strong cards in its list. But
Of
Yeah.
course. Doesn't help.
it does help.
Right. It says a lot that you have the option to just get VLC back and you're like, no thanks. I'd rather have fully op.
Yeah.
VLC is cute, but I really want value. Like
I want to be able to do something after I get that value.
Yeah, it's often because drawing on the first click is better than drawing on the last click.
Yeah.
A cleaver coming down. Okay.
Nice.
Well, it's also more modal, right? Like you get to choose if gain 3 credits, gain 4 cards is better, and you get to base that off the knowledge of what you're drawing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah, having more choice points in a card is strong for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now MCA is on 3 counters now, so threatening a 5/3 from hand without Jeeves anywhere in sight.
Yeah.
Or threatening a Vitruvius with 2 counters. Honestly, that's also a thing.
Yeah, I would
Nasty.
imagine Zaya's digging for a leech here to go with her cleaver.
Almost certainly some sort of tool.
Amakua makes a lot of
Turtle.
sense, and now you can start hitting archives and getting
Very
almost $2.
Now, in the meantime, the MCA does pop.
Yeah.
And let's see if this is 5 advancements.
Yeah. To me the question is this a GFI or is this a Vacheron? Yeah, GFI.
It's a
Okay,
GFI.
there it is.
Yeah,
Alright.
I think you probably only run Vacheron if you really need the influence, which is generally true of combo decks, but not so much here.
Yeah.
Upgrade's a nice call.
Whoa.
Oh,
Hello.
there
That's-
was one there the whole time.
There it is.
And then there's the void. But you could tax them out, I think.
Yeah, how do you get into the server, right?
I mean, I
You,
feel like that's game practically.
well,
yeah,
so if you can you run archives once, and then you empty your penny shaver, which gets you 5 credits.
Hmm.
and then you get voided.
Yeah.
Right, but they have to spend 2 credits each time they void, so they no longer have enough to score.
I feel like just the one void will be enough to do it though, and then they can score.
Right, because you need to both
You need to
get
run
up to
server one
strength.
twice, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the only way to stop
And
them.
you need 3 credits each time. So,
yeah.
so I think run archives. Oh no, you don't have
There's
enough to
only
click
three
it
clicks
twice.
left,
Yep,
right?
yep, because they falsified click
Because
one.
falsified.
Yeah, if they had the 4 clicks still left, I think they could pull it off. But
Yep, yep. So I think that's
A
just
falsified,
GG.
yeah,
what
falsified guess correctly there would put them at
be
plus
a whole different
5 here,
ballgame.
right? 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, they would be at 6, which they could then run twice,
yeah.
force 2 voids, or on ice res.
hmm,
Yeah, and
Oh
like
yeah, and if that's a gatekeeper on server one as well, this whole discussion's moot. You res the gatekeeper, you
true.
bounce them out, and
yeah,
score
that's
Yeah.
out.
done.
Right, we're assuming we're assuming that this is even a case where you can break the outer ice.
Yeah. So
Gatekeeper is just nope.
I think you just hope to you run R&D until you run out of cards to see, and then run HQ and hope that you find 3 agendas and 3 accesses.
Yeah,
Right, the fact that there is a Vitruvius just chilling in server one and there has been this whole time definitely makes me think there's probably some points hanging out in HQ.
Yeah, that's a very
definitely.
good point, and it did seem like they were playing maybe a little flooded earlier, and they've so with 20 cards left in the deck, there should be. Let's see. Yeah, like there's a plausible argument. I think it I wouldn't be surprised if there's nothing in HQ or only one agenda in HQ here. Just based on sort of like,
Yeah.
oh, they've seen half their deck or so, and that's should be, and they've seen
Hmm.
we know where 4 agendas are out of 9, so
Yeah, this is definitely a tough spot for the runner. I can see why they're tanking here. This is a difficult spot to be in.
Definitely.
uh, Kenny is in chat says, "Well, I've tuned in and already discovered NWE is playing some bad cards in ASA. Not sure what cards they're referring to, but oh, got the
Oh,
GFI.
there is a GFI.
Okay, all right. Maybe this isn't over just yet.
I don't think
On the topic of on the topic of Kenny and the topic of Scoops Cast, noted JNet player 4 hot dogs Eric C just joined the chat.
I wonder if you actually wait to take the Zaya credit until the last HQ run, so that you have
Yeah.
$1 after the slot machine, to
Yeah,
then
for
go and
sure.
break a
Agreed.
vanilla on R&D.
Agreed. I think you're right there.
Ooh.
But that's like such a
Accessing
small
gatekeeper.
Ah,
Yeah,
there it is.
there's not a chance that you have something here, right? I mean, for Percomus doesn't need to, but could even find a Skunkworks from HQ and throw it down on R&D and say, "Gotcha." Like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, there's no way to lose here.
I suppose when they put that Vitruvius behind the one ice so brazenly, that should have been a pretty good indicator of how flood they were being. I know that's something I definitely do.
All right,
Yeah.
well, that's
yeah,
go
I think
game.
Wongi sums it up fast as hell. That is
Yeah.
exactly what this ASA is.
Yep, that's turn 11, and I think that was they had an amazing turn 1. That's I think
Right.
when your opponent as Asa gets VLC and Rashida both on turn 1, you don't need to feel
Mhm.
too bad about that loss.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think that right turn 11 we've talked about is potentially like that's a fairly long game for this ASA deck, but I don't think it was a long game because of and like it was a methodical game, not a slow game, is the way I would
Yes.
characterize it.
that's a good way to characterize it.
There was definitely pretty much no point watching this game where I felt like, again, the ASA did not have almost complete control over what they were doing. Like, they knew what was going to happen. Okay, they're going to run this. Doesn't really matter. I'm set up either way.
Yeah. We've got a Sports Medal versus Steve matchup on table 3, if we're interested in that.
Fantastic. Let's head over to that.
Game is still going.
Table 3, I know how to read.
I'm having a really hard time finding it myself. Oh, there it is.
It's early bird table 3 for Salt. Like, it's not table 3, so it's
Yeah, that was
it is a
throwing me
little
off,
bit
too.
harder.
Awesome. So when you come in, you'll see this is a Steve with a fairly... So this is a prepaid Steve. It's got a pretty
Yeah.
good rig down at this point. 2 prepaids, 1 Paragon, 1 Rozeki. Fair amount of drip coming in. Turning wheel that's starting to charge up.
They've played a couple of bravados at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's
Yeah,
at the
right.
same
We're
agenda
seeing the
points
Steve
perfectly.
value. Yeah, we're definitely seeing the Steve value. These RFG'd cards, basically like, you know, 1 bravado, 2 dirty laundries getting removed from the game. Something close to that value probably going back to hand each time.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've loved, because I've played a decent bit of Steve in this new meta, I had forgotten how good it feels to just be Steve and run HQ.
Oh, so good.
As someone
It's
who
like,
was
oh,
taking
would you like to give me a dirty laundry or a diesel? I guess I'll draw 3 free cards, thanks. Like,
all right. Well, we're getting more runner wins this round, so that's something. For those at home, keeping track, we've
yeah. So
already got more
current
runner
board
wins.
state. Current board state, we've got a big Mega Pre and a Cyberdex.
Ooh, oh, no.
Oh. Well.
Well, the game's got 4 more turns no matter what now.
Yep. Never the one that you want to see as the runner,
No.
unless it's early.
You want to grab that in the first 2 or 3 turns I found, or anytime after that, it is just a feel-bad maneuver.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is Sports Medal. You just drew him 2 cards.
Yeah.
Now, Sports Medal still is in the somewhat tricky position. Oh my gosh, another one.
Oh, no. Ooh,
Well,
so that's a
we
good grab.
really, really have a 4-turn timer on the game now.
Yeah.
How many points are left in the deck?
I mean, there can't be that many at this point. Okay, so...
We've got 12 sitting in the runner's score area.
I think just 5 points left.
It's just gonna be
12 points sitting in the runner's score area. Love it.
You know, I bet. Yeah, meeting adjourned wins right here.
Oh man, the game changer.
Oh dear.
Oh no! Oh, that feels so bad.
If
As
only they
Steve.
got that last match run.
That's a rough
Once
one.
again, game changer. Doing very, very powerful stuff. This one not even really set up to be a like a combo sports, right? Like this
Yeah.
is set up with real ice. You install stuff in servers, you protect it with ice, and you just have the game changer set up so that your 1-pointers and your Vacherons give you wins like this.
Definitely feels like a more traditional slam and jam kind of ice deck, and then you just lean back on the game changer when it works for you.
Yeah. But I'd be surprised to see a card like Fast Break in there, for instance.
Yeah, I would agree. All right. Let's see. Do we want to try table 9? That's gonna have a restoring human. Oh no, that's Polana and 419. That may be a little too run of the mill for us.
I mean, we haven't seen Polana yet
Cool. Yeah,
this tournament.
let's head over to that. I don't think we've seen these players either. So.
I think
Oh,
we came in at
well.
the once again, I think we've come in at the very tail end of Yuka Bean's game because I think we did that one of the past rounds.
Oh, why
Looks
did I
like this
say
was
that?
ended by a trick of light on Project Yagyuda.
I was just going
Which
to
is a fun
say,
one.
somebody.
Um,
Interesting.
Oh man, this new art on Trick of Light is just so good.
oh wow, that is so good.
I love it.
All right, well, I
Long
guess
time been one of my favorite cards. Could always use that update.
Yeah. I believe these are decks that we've seen. Well, there's 5 spectators in the game. I was going to say we've got the pencil versus movable objects game, but that does have 4 spectators
maybe
right now.
we
So
should
it
go
might be
down
hard
to
get into.
14. We've got a Earth Station versus Tau. That promises to be.
Earth Station. Let's do it.
Yeah, and Tau. Sounds like a match made in heaven. Oh, the Tranquilizer. Love coming in and seeing that right off the bat.
Tranquilizer out of Tau. Love it. Also seeing 2 Transport Monopoly in the score area for Tau.
That is pretty interesting.
Indeed. Obviously, like, it makes sense. It synergizes with Earth Station. They don't get to run the remote.
Straight up.
That said, I think Tau loves corp decks that have to spread out their ice, and Earth Station sort of needs to defend HQ. It needs to defend its remote to some degree, and then because it's Shaper, they have to defend R&D. So you can get some value on the swaps here.
And there's definitely plenty of good ice to move around that you can just waltz through after doing so, I'm seeing.
Ooh. So this would be a fun thing with Transport Monopoly. Conduit does require a successful run. Now, those are in Tau score area, so the point is moot, but it's a thing.
It's true. I'm not going to lie. I've not been a huge fan of Transport Monopoly myself, but it feels like there's a lot more relevant, successful run triggers as of late, so perhaps it'll start making more of an appearance.
Yeah,
If I can be completely frank, I forgot that this was a card. Until
you could have shown this art to me, and I would have sworn to you I'd never seen it before.
Oh, is that an Arkham Horror card?
Oh, that must be in the next set.
It definitely does seem like it's putting in good work here, though. I mean, something that I'll point out, if you look in archives right now, there is a Trick of Light in there too. And we just saw a Sprint get played, so this is an Earth Station that has some tricks, that wants to go fast, that wants to do some very, very spicy things.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh man, this Tranquilizer, the true... Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, mass commercialization makes a lot of sense if you're doing Trick of Light, but please go on.
One of the great tragedies, I imagine, for this Earth Station is that we have a magnet rezzed, and we still have a Botulus and a Tranquilizer on other ice.
Oh, it hurts so much.
Yeah. But unless there's divert power or something like that, there's no way to get that magnet back.
Yeah, outside of, I guess, just perhaps overwriting and hoping to reinstall it at some point.
If there's a second magnet, this is such a blowout.
Yeah.
Okay, we see an Aket res, and we see a Nebula that it looks like had the full 3 counters on it. Only 1 sub, though, so Botulus is quite good against it.
Definitely getting the impression from this Corp deck that they figured Tranquilizer was going to be around, and that has definitely made some of their ice choices for them.
Right, that's a good point. With Nebula, it always costs 0, even if it gets tranquilized. Once you have those 3 counters.
Of course. Oh, Chrysium.
Yep, Chrysium stopping Conduit.
I love Chrysium as a card, and again, with Conduit and everything else coming around, I expect that card to be even more coming back in a big way.
Chrysium, very, very good. I think it also... We're not seeing much of it this tournament, but I know that a looming threat always on the runner side is someone's going to be good at Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Chrysium's a very good card against Apocalypse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially with all these corps that we're seeing. Like, oh, there's not that many corps we're seeing that are just trying to fast advance everything out of hand. A lot of corps really are trying to build up a value board state in some shape or form.
Yeah, it might feel like Ace is fast advancing, but really it's just fast advancing ice on its remote that you can't break because it's too early.
I guess that's the other thing too. Transport Monopoly, I mean, obviously makes fantastic APOC tech. So I could see running it just for that if you expect APOC to be around. And seeing a lot of these ice choices in this tournament lately, I feel like a lot of people thought they might see some APOC.
Yeah, definitely seems reasonable to me. So we do see a conduit run that will be successful here. This is going to see 3 cards.
Nothing.
Pretty good with the amount of cards left and the amount of agendas that have to be in there.
Yeah. Where are they otherwise, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
in theory they could be HQ, but they're just going to keep piling up there. There's nowhere else they can go once they get to HQ.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Tau has to be a little bit worried because all of their gambles are gone. 2 of their creative commissions are gone. So their econs. Oh, never mind. I missed that the telework contract was installed. So
yeah, they've got telework contracts to click up. Obviously not the fastest money in the world, but at the moment, probably fast enough, given the current board state. They really just need 1 3-pointer or they need 2 cards off of a dig. And sprint
gives them a.
Whoa!
Divert power, baby.
Whoa!
Oh man, I
to res the magnet to pull the Botulus.
Oh.
Holy moly! That's a play.
Oh, that's sick.
I mean, look, like, yeah, this is obviously a lower table play, but it's a 2 influence 2 card combo that only works against a small subset of cards, but it's pretty sweet.
But what a blowout when it does.
Yeah.
Now, I do find it interesting that the Botulus is what got chosen because kind of the Botulus makes Conduit cheaper, but the real existential threat is this tranquilizer saying you don't have a remote.
Yeah, so I went back in the log and checked. I believe that tranquilizer is on a Pharos.
Yeah, so it's not one that gets cheaper to res because of the 3 counters.
But I think also if you're Earth Station here, you're probably not resing that Pharos with all of your mass commercializations in the bin.
No.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, at least until you can find preemptive.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So I guess you just have to start, right? That's the real existential threat is you have to start your remote from ground zero. Because otherwise you're just never scoring.
I do definitely think taking the Botulus was the right choice, but were things a little bit different? Definitely the Trank, because then once you re-res that magnet, well, now you've also got the Botulus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. It's not going to de-res it. It's magnet.
Are we seeing an Earth Station flip here?
Ooh.
We are not seeing an Earth Station flip here, so... Oh.
All right.
Reduced service. Now, Tau does have enough money to run here, correct?
Yeah.
It costs 8 to initiate the run, and this is an ice that can't be rezzed.
For sure. So I'm kind of wondering what this play is myself.
Wait, hold on.
If Earth Station's on the other side, it makes sense, right? Because they have to run HQ first.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case here.
I guess the real threat is that's like a spin doctor, and so they're just paying 8, and you get nothing out of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Though obviously the problem with reduced service here is the runner can just run archives a few times and make it cheap.
True.
And that
Either
is
way, time in the
on the
round.
round.
So time in the round currently favors the runner. Runner obviously up 4-2, and currently running conduit.
For sure. This definitely feels like, yeah, the runner's
Yeah,
got
Corp
it.
call and GG. Looks like probably not an agenda in server 2 with the GG call, and knows that there is no way for them to score out of hand to even it up.
Yep. Okay, give me. It's gonna take a second to a little bit.
That was
So
an
that was a
interesting game to
runner
catch the
win.
end of.
Yeah.
Love that divert power magnet play.
All right.
So yeah, definitely some interesting stuff happening in this tournament. I think from what I was worried about looking at the store champ lists this morning was that it would just be a field of 419 and ASA and nothing else. And that is not the case here. We're getting to see a lot of different decks, a lot of different plans, a lot of different routes to victory. So very, very cool.
Yes, exactly what you want to see when hopefully the meta should be as shaken up as it would be by Gateway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Goodness.
Can't blame people for falling back on the decks that they know will work and have historically so, and will continue to work with great new cards out. But it's great to see all these people experimenting with something crazy.
Yeah, agreed.
Sorry. I'm just getting results now. It's a little bit behind this time.
All
Kinda
good.
Reminds
Time-
me of. Oh, sorry. What are you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying it. Time of the round, there's always some amount of overhead between time in the round and the next round, and it just happens that the person doing all of that stuff also happens to be on the mic.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the end of round 4, correct?
Yes. So there are 2 more rounds after this.
Yeah. 2 more rounds, then a cut.
Excellent. Can't wait to see who we're seeing in that position.
Oh wait, is
Not
this?
really. Oh,
I need to figure out what happened at table 16.
I was gonna say I'm not really surprised to see Max X near the top there. Classic ID, everybody loves her. Anarchs are still great.
Looks like Corp won on table 16.
Thank you.
They're still in the chat talking, so.
Okay. Boy, I accidentally borked my program a little bit. So.
What would you say the most interesting deck, or even just surprising, that you've seen so far in this tournament? Because I came in a bit late, of course.
You know, there's a few to choose from. In terms of probably the most surprising to me, and I got a preview of it this morning, so it's not a complete surprise, but the fact that this Virus Max deck is performing so well is definitely a surprise to me.
I must admit, I didn't expect to see Hive Mind Max make such a strong showing.
I didn't expect to see Hive Mind make a showing in anything. And if you'd asked me what ID out of, I wouldn't have guessed Max. So doubly surprising to me, for sure. So that's a big surprise to me. I think also, I don't think it's especially surprising to see Sanjay on Jasminder, but it is nice to see, and I'm happy to see that it's doing well so far. So those are 2 of the big surprises to me, I would say.
I'm definitely there with you on that one. Max X with Hive Mind. God, it feels like I'm playing Netrunner 5 or 6 years ago again.
You know, I'll be completely honest. I've never installed Hive Mind in a game.
It's
Just so the streamers know, and so that everyone else knows, I made a small hiccup in my programming, and it's going to take me a minute to repair, so I'm putting a 10-minute break in. Um,
All right, 10-minute break.
Sounds
I
good.
may take those 10 minutes and see y'all back here in 10 minutes.
all right, and also don't feel like you have to stay around all day. So
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to leave after round 5,
okay,
but yeah, I'll see y'all back here in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
sounds good.
probably get myself nice and fresh myself, so I'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Figure out down the road. I'm at table 1 if you want to join.
Certainly. Alright, table 1, Lost Geek, Solemn Storm. Ah, there's the Max. Hive Mind Max X.
Hive Mind Max X, and we've got CTM with Nico campaign. Um, so
Seemed like a great asset to put in there when I was looking over making a new CTM the other day.
I'm. Do you mind doing the heavy lift for right now? I want to get some stuff ready so that I can pair the final round quickly.
Oh, of course.
Um,
So we see a cookbook with that fermenter go down. Already getting that started. Nice. What turn are we on here? 3. Okay, game just started. Maryland, Nico. I do love to see that CTM is pretty much always pulling assets from everywhere else outside of that daily business show, of course. Which, if you're not popping that in, it's like, boy, you really must have a slots problem.
yep, making a standard CTM scoring remote where you have nothing on the centrals.
Yep. Oh boy, I cannot count the amount of times where I've seen that exact situation. And the worst part is it's like it just makes sense. It's just a smart move. All right, whip out your conduit. I got my game plan.
Yep, just hope I can beat you before you see all of my R&D.
Yeah,
Uh,
straight up. With the econ they've already got going, they're in a pretty nice position there. But that said, Hexex is no slow goer for this one. Got a lot of good setup stuff down already. That fermenter is going to be so juicy when it pops. Yes, I do not foresee a future where this CTM is going to purge that.
definitely not.
An overscored Beal as their first one. They are really trying to fly out the gate here.
Oh wow, that's a fancy. I'd like that play a lot because you
Oh,
really
yeah,
need to be putting pressure down, but you don't know how long you've got. Um,
exactly. Makes me wonder a little bit how many agendas they've drawn into, but doesn't necessarily seem like a desperation move.
no, I don't think so. I think it's more just like I've got tempo now before you got your engine going. Let's see what
Better
we
push
can
it to the
do.
max. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, they're icing up R&D, so there's definitely, almost certainly, nothing in HQ. Since if they ever touch that, there's pretty much no way Max wouldn't see what's going on there.
Oh,
Lost an Al Nakua. That's a little bit of a shame. Could really use that in this matchup.
apologies to the stream. You can now actually see the board as opposed to having to imagine it in the mental landscape. Um,
Got a Botulus and a Symbol chip down. Great combo. That cookbook. Oh, I love cookbook, especially when you get it with that Botulus and even Tranquilizer.
yeah, no, it's definitely a card that I looked at and said this isn't ever going in any decks, and then it immediately is going in decks.
I must admit the same issue. I was like, cookbook seems fun, but I can't imagine it's going to be that useful, right? It's like wrong. All right, well, dang. now Max X is pretty well set up here. Got now Makua, got a Botulus, got that cookbook. Stole that Beal right out from under him.
Yeah.
There's the daily business shows you'd expect.
Daily business show does help. You know, it means that they can't conduit through quite as easily, or they
Mm-hmm.
have to work harder to get it going. Um,
Absolutely. This is a fun matchup so far. I mean, perhaps a more experienced player would be able to make the call, but it feels like it could really be anyone's game at this point.
yeah, I feel like Max is probably ahead because I think they've got a pretty solid late game plan with just have a big turtle, have a big hive mind,
Definitely.
and being on 22 credits definitely helps. But if CTM
Yeah.
can get the jam going, maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
an out. But paperclip in the bin, Amakua with a counter, it's going to be tricky.
Mm-hmm. Max is ready now, and pretty much through the entire deck as it is. So they've seen all the cards they need, just about at least. Ping, love that ice. Feel like we're going to be seeing probably a lot of that in the future. Just a perfect NBN ice, I feel. Cheap gear check with a little bit
Yep,
of a bite on it.
cost tempo as well.
Oh, there's that amp. Going down with the Simmel chip. It begins.
Okay.
Slot machine on Central, as you'd well expect. Not the best fire for it, but it's not like resing that really put them behind.
Did they get the two hits or just the one?
Just the one.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit trying to figure things out quickly so that I can get the next round, not to take an hour to pair everyone, but uh,
Ooh. Snatched a global food initiative from that HQ, too.
yeah, to me this is reading is pretty over now.
Yeah,
Um,
I would have to agree, especially after that grab. It's like, what's CTM going to do? They can't really threaten a tag storm so easily because Max is so rich. Max is already ahead on points, just needs two more agendas to win. Since I assume this is an all two-pointer for the runner CTM kind of deck. Maybe not, they might be throwing in some Ballonas, but we'll see. Oh, that Botulus, just getting those virus counters up. I don't know what that Botulus is on, but Max Extra ain't afraid of it anymore.
I mean, even like I'm guessing something like an Enigma,
Yeah.
and just sort of killing any hope CTM could have of scoring.
Yeah. This is feels like they got it on lockdown. CTM would have to pull out quite the trick for me to go, oh wow, they're back in this. And if that's another ping that Botulus is on, that is not going to do it. Ooh.
Nope. One tag
Yeah.
on click with 3 clicks left is, I think, gonna be all she wrote.
Yeah. Even if that's a MV or a Mumbad virtual tour down there, just imp it. Lose pretty much nothing from that exchange. Oh, and it's
Rashida.
a Rashida too. Could have probably used that quite a bit. Absolutely needed that money and card draw to perhaps pull them out of the hole that they're in, but we'll see. It's a shame too, because I don't really feel like CTM made any wrong moves. Just Max X got an amazing start.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels like something where, like, if you want to play CTM, you have to think about how you want to engineer your deck to handle this. And if
Yeah,
Max gets such a strong start, like this is what, turn
it's turn
7?
7. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a pretty solid start, and not that much that Solemn Storm could have done here, I think.
no, yeah, I would agree. Had all of those key pieces for both threatening and making the viruses explode down in the first couple of turns. And I don't know if there's any Mumbod virtual tours in this deck, but Solemn Storm surely didn't grab or see any in their hand or out of their R&D, and that is a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, once the imp went down, it didn't matter, but before that, it was pretty much the one way of trying to get him on the back foot. There goes the daily business show. So R&D filtering just went out the window.
Oof, this is, yeah. I think we're just eulogizing eulogizing before someone's dead here. I think, unfortunately, but
It's
it's
hard to disagree.
it is cool to see this Max list where Max went from not a meta presence to suddenly having this huge deck uh,
Yeah.
on the day with the one the only cards that are new are Botulus, Tranquilizer, and Conduit, right? There's nothing else new.
Uh, oh, there's a fermenter.
Oh, and okay, yeah, Fermenter and Cookbook. So it's just
Yeah,
all these little virus synergies that don't seem great on their own, but end up being pretty solid.
I would have never expected it myself, but now that I'm seeing it play out, it feels so obvious. I mean, the deck is singing here. Feels like no matter what you're trashing, it's not really a big problem. You're always getting that draw.
Yeah, I guess the question is, so I guess one question you start asking is, well, what corp can handle this? And nothing is immediately springing to mind. Asa is my default deck I always want to play, but
Well, it's a great one. There's a reason. There's the hard hitting news that's already. Yeah. Could have maybe done something with that on next turn, but now it's too late for that. With the rebirthing into Omar too, it's like, yeesh.
yeah, I almost wonder you could probably rebirth into Freedom and just start using those Botulus counters because you're not going to use them for anything else.
Yeah, that would have been good.
um,
Anything
but
to get around that slot machine, though.
yeah, that
Or
is true. You know, for all that we're saying this is all over, they're only on six. They're on 6 credits with 4 tags. There's maybe some way that CTM could start to claw back a little bit here.
oh, for sure, especially if they can pull a psychographics or something out of there.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Get rid of that imp. Put down a hive mind. I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly where they were going with this, but okay. Well, now it all makes sense. It's another one too. It's like hive mind and fermenter make so much sense together. I would have not thought about them so much before, but now seeing it's like talk about a crazy econ package for viruses.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the psychographics. All right. A little bit foolish to count this game out so quickly, I think, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think you need 2 of them to get any. Oh, I guess no. They're just a 15 minutes away, right? So you,
Yeah, pretty
as Omar,
much.
you really need to sweep the hand or R&D lock and hope that
Yeah,
does it.
they're on a lot of tags right now, which, again, maybe there's some other trick in this up deck that could really take advantage of that. I mean, psychographic seems like the best one, and it definitely just got used to fantastic effect there.
Yeah.
What an interesting board state. This definitely feels like some classic Netrunner. Dang, I'm so glad for Gateway. You've got such a back and forth here. Labor rights, of course. 3 Simul chips. I mean, okay, I guess I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure you hit one because so many of your programs are going in the bin. And also, the fermenter simulchip synergy is fantastic. You get to make money and then use your simulchip to just recur a more useful programming. Um,
Yeah. Heck, even bring back the fermenter on the same turn you get rid of it if you really need that cash.
yeah. uh,
And They're already at a point where popping that fermenter is going to give them 10 credits, so not bad.
Oh, okay. I'm going to. Oh shoot. Yeah. I need to go and answer a judge call. So you got a minute to take a break, Eric. Um,
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. And at such a powerful point in time as well, just pulled a remaster off after going conduit crazy there on that R&D. It still definitely feels like this might be the runner's game. But after breaking out of that lock with the spin doctor and then getting right into Rashida, who knows? They might pull that 15 minutes right here and now and win. Oh, nope, that's it. Psycho into a Beal, I think. Oh, remastered even. Yep, and dang, that spin doctor into Rashida, classic move. Really great game by both contenders here. Yeah, absolutely. Who cares how you win? Just pull it off. Sounds good to me. I see. I haven't seen Pencil yet this game, so. Oh. Okay, Pencil running on Asa. 4-1. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Oh, if that isn't a classic sports metal board state, I don't know what is. Table 11's also done. Okay, because yeah, 12's also done. Man, this is a fast round. Oh, here we go. Sight for sore eyes here. Feel like I just watched this game finish. Oh, I was just informed that you may not be heard right now. Yeah, no problem. I think I'm being heard. I'm not sure
yep.
about you.
I got too fancy with my mic setup and turned off my mic. Had my mic and your mic independent and forgot to turn mine back on when I turned yours back on.
Okay, well, perfect. Here's I definitely feel like it's CTM, but it's a different CTM than we were watching a second ago. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah. This looks
got a pretty classic from. I feel like this is a kind of CTM that was going around Worlds a fair amount. You got
Hmm.
Malia. The Malia helps you get the Jeeves for influence free. There's an IP block there. And a Max X Virus deck, once again, this one does more or less look quite a bit like the one we just saw win, though. I'm seeing a
Yes,
chisel,
yes.
and I don't think there was a chisel in the last one we went in, but chisel just makes sense after all.
Yep,
Hive
it does
mind
make sense here to help deal with some problem ice. Um,
can just pop it on that white space or something similar. It's just gone. This one definitely feeling more corp leaning. I mean, it's not as if that currently Omar is out of the game by any stretch, but the corp's got a pretty good board state right now.
yeah, for sure. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, 39 credits is. If you offered me that in just about every board state, I would take it.
Yeah, it's a veritable mountain there. What did that Malia hit? Let's see if I can find that out, because very interested to know what that attacked. Ah, it was Earthrise Hotel. Or, oh, no, wasn't it? Oh, I think it was a daily casts. Ah, yes. Okay, well, that makes sense. Always sucks to put down that daily cast or that liberated and instantly see the Malia pop up. Daily cast is one thing, liberated account especially. You put down that liberated and you're only at 1 or 2 credits, and then they flip over the Malia. It's like,
Well, I guess I just go home now.
yeah, I've probably lost. All right, thanks. Can't even get rid of this dang Bioroid without making sure that you'll be able to use the tag to get rid of my liberated. So that IP block is definitely never going to stop the Anarch, that's for sure. That Postulus has made sure of that. Labor rights makes sense. Stack depleted. Why not get the strong stuff you need, which of course is a bunch of Simmel chips, because it feels as if this Max X deck lives and dies on its Simmel chips. Which, with all the program cycling, makes total sense. And Cookbook. Cookbook and Simmel chip are just a match made in heaven that I don't feel like you would necessarily figure out at first, but once you see it in action, it's like just makes so much sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool to see a card that I think we all sort of said, this isn't really going to be anything. Find it,
Mm-hmm.
especially because Simulchip has like it was seen in Haley decks, but basically nowhere else, and I like seeing it basically everywhere as a
Yeah,
diehard Shaper player. Um,
I love that it's basically taken Clone Chip's spot more or less, but it's not Clone Chip. Is decidedly not Clone Chip,
yeah,
and oh, just love that Simul Chip Cookbook synergy of popping out a tranquilizer at the very end of a corpse turn, and the next turn that ice is done.
all right, so Dean's in a very nice spot here,
For sure.
threatening the win in server one.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Looks like they're kind of just going for some glory accesses here with Omar. Can't really oh, getting out of oh. Yes, that's what I would expect. Get the conduit started, try to get those last few points you need. Okay. Interesting. I'm guessing they just tried to put in some non-agendas into R&D to make sure there's as few agendas as possible for
yeah,
Omar to touch.
makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like Dean has got the win next turn. It's just about them stopping Omar from winning this turn.
Yeah, but if you access on 5 credits, that's all you need. But it
It's true.
might be tricky to get to here.
Yeah. Well, well-timed botulus is always a great way to deal with that.
Oh yeah, it is. Very nice. Yeah, that solves the white space problem.
For the rest of the turn.
Yeah, yeah, because the runner doesn't have 6 or less, so they get to run through it twice. Well, this could be the big dig.
Yeah. Let's see. Even if not in this one too, the next one, there's a possibility that one more card can make all the difference. Cause dang. Oh,
Oh, degree mill.
dang.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, another just classic Netrunner game there. Everybody doing their best. Clearly, the Corp was going to win next turn, but the runner just made some great, smart decisions there and got what they needed.
Yeah.
That's the best Netrunner game when it's like, I know this is it. I win now or I don't, and you manage to pull it off, or you don't. It's like, okay, well, couldn't do it, but hey, I did everything I could. Yeah, definitely a lot better than say when you're facing a precision design and then they will Jinja and Violet level clearance turn 1 and get 4 ice on their server, and you're just like, okay, well.
All right. I'm gonna guess that that's basically everyone.
It's definitely looking like everybody's kind of filtering
It.
out
Did
there.
you look at
There's
table
still,
12 or?
I did just go to the movable object game, and that one's still going. Table
Okay.
12, I think, might be. Yeah, table 12's done.
Okay, so I guess we'll go to table 5 then.
Yeah, that's the only one still going. Okay, Max X again, but a very, very different flavor,
Yeah, the 99 card max.
which I love. I love that deck to death. It's so goofy, and yet it works. Because no matter what, you're gonna get some sort of engine going.
It may be a different engine every game, but it'll be an engine.
Straight up. And you know that Anarch card pool, it's definitely good enough to where it's like, okay, I didn't see paperclip. I got a cleaver though now, and that was another card I didn't think would be bad when I first saw it, but I am very happy to see it performing to the level that it is.
Yeah.
And I love that version of Anarch, the fixed breakers. I'm glad that that's on its way back, it would seem.
Yeah, the new fixed breakers, Cleaver and Buzzsaw seem
Yes.
fantastic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Then you've got, of course, the old favorite of Mimic as well. Is that still around, right? I thought that was
Yep,
in
Mimic
System
is still
Update.
around. It got saved.
Okay, yeah, that's in System Update. Right. Yeah, you can get all you need. Might be someday in the future we see nothing but fixed breakers in an Anarch that wins something. I could believe it. Especially with Botulus to take care of any particularly problematic high strength ice, since those tend to usually only have the 1 to 2 subs. So this game is definitely in Longy's hands here, I would say. I mean, they just need one hostile drawn and they win. Which, it's funny though, I wouldn't really call Max in a bad position. I mean, as long as they can get some sort of R&D lock going, which should be easy enough with that Stargate they've got down. Yep, just drawing as much as they can for whatever they can get. Makes total sense. Just need to, especially if they've got that Audacity. Now any 3-2 in their hand is also scored right out of hand. And there's no symbol chips, and I ain't seen a clot in the heap either, so I don't think Max can do anything about it if they want to score out of hand last turn. Retrieval Run. I had not seen the new art on Retrieval Run.
Oh
Love
yeah, the
that.
raccoon.
Yeah, very good. Honestly, very Anarch. Little trash mammal going into the dumpster and getting what they need. Okay, as expected, trying to Stargate that R&D to make sure they never see that 3-2 or hostile that they need to win. It's going to be a little tough for them because that Botulus is not going to get them in every turn. So they need some sort of long-term solution here, I think, that I'm not necessarily seeing at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you want to be breaking that with an Adore.
No, no, no. Or an MK. Oh, Lord. How much does that cost? 9. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Dory definitely better, but only just so. But, I guess ultimately, if you all you need is the one Stargate run per turn to make sure that they're not winning off of that draw of R&D. So you trash the too big to fail, which definitely feels like the right move. Rashida, if it goes down in server 2, will not be beyond their grasp by any stretch, especially with all the bad pub they can perhaps get into it through that whoredom for free.
yeah, that's true. Uh, Sorry, I'm trying to get things sorted out, so I'm gonna leave you a little bit more on your own here. But
To- totally
you're
fine.
doing a great job so far.
Thank you. Well, don't worry. I love the sound of my own voice, so I can definitely keep jabbering. They've got a good companion. It's so hard to say. Oh, there it is. Nope.
All right. Well,
They pulled the agenda they needed. Ooh. Yeah, it must have been so rough being in that max X position because victory wasn't beyond the grasp, and all it took was them touching one agenda, and that was the end.
yeah,
I mean, the only thing no, all global foods are gone. Yeah, any other agenda they could have touched would have been game. That Wanton was the right choice, but it was just one turn too late to try and use on him. All right, I do believe. I'm gonna check out just to make sure. I think table 9 is done. Yep, table 9's done. It was a Tau versus a PD, and Tau won. That's pretty cool. Love
oh, cool.
Tau. I really want to see him become a strong contender, and I feel like that is absolutely possible, especially with Tau's just pulling on tranquilizers and putting those in their deck these days, which I wouldn't have originally thought, but it makes so much sense with them.
Yeah, it definitely
Here's,
makes a lot of sense.
here's an ice you'll never res again. I'll just put this on the server I need to get into.
Yeah, you can risk this every turn, or you can,
Get rid of it.
yeah, overwrite it, and I will walk through it.
Yeah, and
Ep-
I just paid 2 credits in a program to have you waste an ice res. Very good. We have Hippo at home, but we're a shaper, so.
all right, I am. Let me do.
Oh, yeah, I've always called her Max X just because of the capitalized X at the end. I assume tons of people just call her Max, but I don't know. Seeing that the exact capitalization of that name, it makes me feel like that's how she would prefer it. She is the maximum X. She is the Anarch. And she's always felt that way throughout her lore. Sorry, I was responding to somebody I saw in the chat.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, Tao's going to be, I think, especially with that conduit coming in, I think Shaper is going to be a very strong contender, and Tao is going to be leading that charge. And I wouldn't be surprised about Cabanesa would either. She's she feels like she flies under the radar a lot, but you cannot discount that ability of hers. That her ability to set up is just crazy.
Yeah, no, her ability is very very solid. Uh, uh, Shoot, I went the wrong direction.
Well, if there is only the one person on the planet who has ever thought or said Max X, that would be me then.
I feel like I think I have heard Max X. Um,
I mean, it definitely sounds goofy when you're saying it out loud. I'm not going to deny that. But yeah, I mean, seeing somebody say XX Max XXXXX in the chat, it's like you telling me you're not reminded of some hilarious username for some, I don't know, old Netrunner FPS or something. You think she wasn't fragging people? If Max X didn't get into her net running career by screaming at people over mic when she was a young girl in FPS's multiplayer, then I would eat my hat.
All right, so for those interested in what I'm doing on my desk, I have now written out a card with every player score. I'm adding their score from this round, and I'm making two piles for people that have played one more runner game and one more corp game. Then I'm going to sort those from top to bottom, and then try and do the pair right across, which is an algorithm someone that they had been using in like the Star Wars CCG, because that also had a sided thing, and it basically replicates the results of my algorithm, but with like 9 times less math. Um, and and someone linked it to me after I had finished everything. So it's like
Well, better late than
technically, I
never, I
think
guess.
mine provides some slight optimizations in a couple of cases, but in that it will sometimes make people like if there's a large enough gap, it will make people do a rematch or like match so that there's uneven sides. Um, but that's like
Thank you,
a
then.
minor optimization.
Sure, ultimately, no one would, of course, be able to tell the difference. And once again, thank you for going through all that work. Sounds like a real hassle and a half.
Well, I'm kicking myself for not getting this right. Making my trying to be lazy at one point, seeing that it was causing me issues and saying no, I'm going to continue being lazy instead of I should fix this so that it will work consistently. And that's just an easy thing I can fix in the future. But um,
Well, if there is one thing the various programmer friends I know have been drilling into my head over the past couple of weeks, it's, what's really good in programming? Trying to be lazy if you can pull it off.
um,
KTI Jones. It's great. Isn't her name Kati Jones, actually? I'm quite sure that's supposed to be the pronunciation, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with the
I believe it's supposed to
culture
be
that name comes
Kadi,
from.
named after a real person.
Oh,
Um,
I see. I was not aware of that.
yeah, it's someone that the lead designer. I forget if that was Lucas. That Lucas knew. Um,
Well, it's not entirely surprising. The name and how she looks very much smacks of like, okay, this is somebody you know. Netrunner tends to draw people super duper well when they're not main ID cards, only when it's somebody who's getting some FaceTime, either because of a champ card or some friend of the designers. At least that's how it was with FFG.
yeah. Okay. Um,
Interesting. Katis all over the world, huh? Well, I gotta say, I do remember the first time I called her Katie, and someone indeed said to me, like, oh, no, 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 no. Kati, it's Kati. It's like, oh, all right, thank you. When was that? I think that was one of my first physical tournaments. That was a fun one. I think it was that Chaos Theory with Au revoir, which was going around like quite a few years ago. And that was shortly after CI came out, and everything went downhill from there. Cerebral imaging, that is. HB really is getting all those great IDs all the time. Not necessarily a problem with that. HB's fun. It's not as if there aren't a ton of other great IDs either.
Almost done. Holy moly, this is a tedious process. Armored Firecracker, ran, and one.
Looking over the standings list, there's less loops than I would have thought. There's the one, so that's good.
I think
There's
there's
a
only one of each gateway runner.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense. I mean, you're not used to them yet. You want to make sure you're taking a somewhat optimized deck here, and people want, you know, they just haven't been out long enough for people to be sure if these IDs are going to cut it.
Yeah, I think Zaya is the safest one. I think Zaya Tau loop is roughly what I would expect is uh, their actual power levels, but
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, Zaya's just giving you benefits for doing all the things you're always going to be doing as a criminal anyway. So there's just no going wrong with her. Tau is also pretty strong, but make the wrong ice decision at some point, and you are going to be feeling it for the rest of the game. And Loop is good. I can see him running up against Hoshiko though. They're like definitely not the same when it comes to being an ID, but I can see how at times you may have trouble choosing one over the other, especially since it's not like Imp is bad and Hoshiko, as I believe Pencil demonstrated last year at Worlds.
all right, I am almost in the place where I'm ready to do pairings. Just trying to get the last result.
As for the corpse,
Do you remember the result of the Herbart Klepsto? Was that
Herbart Klepsto, they were
versus?
playing the Anarch, I believe, and Anarch won in that one because they got that degree mill right at the end.
Oh, okay. I have something. Okay.
Or at least I thought that was the case.
Yeah, no, I think I have something else. Okay. Corp win. Yep.
A lot more Architects of Tomorrow than I would have expected in this tournament, which is great. I actually love that ID. It's just don't see it often. There's only a couple of them, but even that's more than I would have expected. A lot of precision design, which completely makes sense. You don't have to iterate too much with that ID to know that that's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, precision design seems to be a lot of fun.
I'm a big fan of it. I love using it with Anoetic Void. It's just great for getting those fast advanced tools back. Anything, obviously. Feel like, in fact, that's not a bad idea to perhaps run against this Max X with viruses because, uh-oh, your CVS is gone. What are you going to do? Oh, well, I just scored. I'll get another one. Get it right back.
Sorry, one sec.
No problem.
Yeah, that is an interesting idea to explore.
Either way, if viruses become a big thing and so many new strong viruses released in Gateway, I don't see how it couldn't.
Yeah,
Definitely going
Cyberdex
to be
virus.
seeing even more of that sandbox.
Cyberdex virus suite definitely seems like it's going to be making a comeback.
Oh yeah, that with the sandbox and perhaps even macrophage.
Yeah, so I think I'm a little surprised that that deck supposedly destroys Polana because I felt like Polana could justify running all of those cards already.
Yeah, literally all of those.
This is
Interesting to already be seeing a return to the world of lots of 4-2s, though. You got the Cyberdeck sandbox. I feel like we're going to probably see a fair amount of off-world office, I think is what it is. The one that gets you 7 when you
Yeah.
score it. It feels as if Fast Advance might even be making a comeback too in things that are not Titan, which is always fun. I've I've always liked Titan, don't get me wrong, but when it's the only thing that's doing Fast Advance, I personally am not a huge fan of that.
uh, um,
I know you're a bit busy, but someone did ask if the standings will be posted on the website still, which I would imagine is a yes, but
they will get posted on that website eventually, but I have to figure out how to get them into the proper format because they're in everything's in 1,000 different formats because I don't know what I'm doing. So um,
a problem I think we can all identify with.
uh, let me just I have to go and do one thing because I have actually uh,
It's definitely a bit too early.
oh, hey guys, sorry about this. I am trying. So what I've done is I've put everyone's results on a playing card, and I'm gonna have a pile of runners and corpse, and I'm gonna rank everyone in terms of final scores, and then just kind of go highest person with +1 corp win, highest person with +1 runner win, and that's how I'll just do the pairings and just go down the chart top to bottom. The one thing I need to do is Sanjay and Yakubin, I know you guys submitted, but I don't have it in my sheet when I'm going through, but I have you guys. Wait,
I corped and won.
cool. And that is, in fact, what I have on my thing. Um, and Robot, your opponent's name was. Um, you sent it to me, Koshi. Wait, I have them playing. Oh no.
No, we
I
swapped.
played against Skates.
Okay, sorry. So Koshi, who did you play? Just to make sure I have this right. Skates?
Sorry, I was talking to my kid for round 5.
Yes.
For round 5, I played Cheapskates, and I was runner.
And then,
Corp
okay, you
one.
played Postus, right? Mascot, and Postus got the win?
No,
Correct.
I played Cheap. Oh, is that different? Oh, that's a different handle. That's why.
I was paired against Koshe, but we swapped since we couldn't get hold of him.
Okay. So, if everyone who still wants to play the final round, I'm going to post what I think happened in this final round. So this is my understanding of where we were in the all the results in the final round. I'm going to add everyone's points. I will do, or I'm going to make I have 2 stacks of cards out below, with me, and I'm going to just sort them from highest to lowest, and see what see how that shakes out. And presumably there's going to be some amount of repairings to avoid rematches that I'm just not going to try and do algorithmically, because that's just more work than I can try and do at this point in time. So.
I don't think we're all expecting too much out of that.
I appreciate all you sticking around and totally understand for those who have to, deal with their other commitments when they didn't anticipate a tournament going this long.
Jeff, you have Herbert Klopstock losing in round 5, and I believe they won.
Okay.
And they were, yeah.
But they did. Do I have their side correct?
Yes, they were runner. They were, yeah.
Okay. So that is a thing I can fix.
I don't know what I'm looking at here.
So that was
It's just round 5.
that was
Yeah, okay.
This is what I think the results from round 5 are, with the one mistake of Dean having the wrong results. Okay. Okay, and now I just have to go and fix that. Okay. Sorry, I'm shuffling my piles in place in each score category. I guess I will read them out, type them up, and post it. But as I'm reading out, if you find a match that shouldn't happen, or that you think shouldn't happen, please do let me know. So, Corp, Runner. So I've got Lost Geek versus Happy, where Lost Geek is corping. And I will post this in a moment. First player is always going to be corping. We got Simon Moon against Longy. We got Percomus against Solemn Storm. We got Shiga versus Sanjay. Yeah. Simply the Onion versus Solimer. Armin Firecracker versus Pinsel. Movable Object versus Test Running. Herbart. Herbart Klopstock versus Aruzan. Meeting Adjourned versus Cheapskates. Yuka Bean versus Shorty. Robot Mascot Dean. Diane Reanimated. Deus Mortis. Jay Foley. And Koshi Postus. Okay. So I will post these in the Discord. Please let me know if you've already played or if you're playing a side the same side that you played last round. Ben, I hope you're joking.
What might help?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey,
Joking,
sorry about all this
joking.
mix-up, guys. But
Comment.
anyways, have fun. Hey, Gerrark. Sorry for leaving you suddenly and inexplicably. Um,
There we are. Oh, don't worry about it. Your hands are full right now. I completely understand.
all right, but got pairings up. I'm going to get this round started on a screen. Think the stream should be able to see us now. And
Perfect.
now I guess we will probably try and go to table 1 if we can. Lost
down.
Geek versus Happy.
Okay. Interested to see this. So I definitely feel, looking at this spread and also how people are doing, there's a good chance we're going to see an Anarch and a HB in the top spot for the winner today. But I am prepared to be wrong. Classic. I think this is the classic Max X virus spread we've been seeing so far. So I'll be
Yeah.
happy to get more.
Yeah, we'll get to see that in
Insight into
action.
that.
We'll see how PD does against it.
Yes, that I am pretty interested in. I just love PD as an ID. I would love it. Just should be a good match. Oh, interesting. Not the kind of opening I would have expected, but I'm guessing they did not start with any ice. Either that or they are on a completely different level than me right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, this does look like a tricky start.
Uh-huh. Not the opening hand you may necessarily want to see in a tournament, especially because they took a mulligan. So oof.
Yeah, I guess that maybe the hope is that the max deck is trying to set up and can't afford the early tempo. But
Definitely say there's a possibility of that. And just because something's down, it doesn't mean they will destroy it. Anyway. Ooh, 2 dirty laundries right off the bat. Oh man. Pretty good start for Max X. Lost an Aomaku on a Simmel chip right off the bat, which Happy was probably not happy to see, but
yep, Spin Doctor definitely helps. NGO is not a terrible thing to put out, but this is definitely reading as I got a lot of stuff in HQ that I don't want there. So
no. If I was Max, and obviously they felt the same way, it is time to slam that while you can. Though I imagine that Ansel they just saw is going to be in front of HQ very shortly. Or maybe not. Oh, okay. Lost the conduit too. Oof. That would have been so good right now. Slam that down and have a free 4 accesses before the turn's over.
yeah, I mean maybe this is the downfall of the deck. It's just that sometimes it mills all of its good tools.
Yeah. I don't think anybody who's played Max X has been there at least once. Oh yeah, Laundry Jackson coming back. Ooh, it's been a while since I felt that. Okay. Looks like, I mean, that's definitely not a second NGO front, I would imagine, especially since we just saw one get trashed. If I had to guess, they're trying to rush out a Cyberdeck sandbox, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Either way, I'd say it's practically impossible that they're going to be busting into that server 3 right now.
Yeah, that does seem like a big ask, especially because there's yeah, there's no breakers in the bin, just an Amakua, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably the one break in this deck that doesn't work that way. Um,
Exactly. Even unless they drew two Botuluses, like I don't know what they could do with the amount of clicks necessary to get in there, but we'll see.
yeah, I mean that said, that is the power of Botulus, right? It's install, and you can get in there if you can
Yeah.
get them both in hand.
Oh yeah. There's no way. I don't know what those ice are, but whatever they are, there's no way that they would be able to res both, still threaten the score, and actually keep them out. Okay, Cyberdeck's sandbox as expected, and a great first start against this Max, that's for sure. Now there's practically no losing to getting rid of all of those wretched virus counters which make your life heck as a corp. Tranquilizer in the bin. Well, at least there's some conspiracy breakers in there now, though, so it's not all bad. I feel like I'm seeing so much happening in this game so far, but at the same time, I'm like, the board state feels like nothing's really happened so far.
Yeah, it is a very empty board state, but at the same time, a lot's happened, right? Max has gone through half their deck.
Mm-hmm.
Precision Design is getting their scoring rig up and going. Having a sandbox score cannot be understated as to how big that is.
Oh yeah, this early and against this deck. I mean, there's so few decks that an early sandbox is not good against, but
It goes to a whole nother level here. So
and somebody made the point, which does make a lot of sense, where milling your extremely expensive programs is pretty good if you can get like the conduit or something else in there, because I mean you've got the simul chips to pop it back out, and for cheaper. You're just hoping you don't lose the simul chips too.
yeah, yeah, that is true. The simul chips recursion does mean that getting your expensive stuff binned is totally okay as long as you get the right tools later.
Yeah,
And
would be
Earthrise
preferable.
definitely helps here, and I think it makes a lot of
Yes.
sense to run Earthrise so that you get the majority of your cards into your hand, and then you can use labor rights and simul chips to manage your averages outside of that.
Mm-hmm. Now that your much bigger, slightly less accessible hand as Max X, known as the Heap, is set up with all the cards that you need. You just pop down those simul chips, you get some labor rights going, you got a runner stew.
Yep. All right. We see the hive mind. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a
Oh,
fermenter installed soon.
yeah,
But double
two of
simul
those
chip
chips.
is
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. The corp I'd say is definitely ahead, but at the same time, Max is getting set up fast and getting to that board state that is going to be very scary for this corp.
Yep. That said, if this is a void skunk, like we have this max is not on a lot of money yet. They sort of need to hit a fermenter. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
though once they do
Definitely.
hit a fermenter, it's install click for 6, so net
Yeah,
5
pretty
on
good.
2 clicks. Not bad.
Not bad at all. So it's definitely not a question of whether or not they're going to be able to contest that server, because that's an inevitability. It's just a question of whether the corp can keep them on the back foot long enough to get in another good score or so while they're doing it.
Um, yeah, with two, no, it's just the one from it. That's still the mill from this turn. So happy planning out their turn with presumably their lots of choices in an 8 card grip.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Get a nice single access with the dirty laundry for some value. Ah, there's that Botulus. Even better, can play that Botulus on the first ice, get through it no matter what, use the chip to put it on the next one.
Yep, that's a gets you through any 2 ice server pretty easily. Oh, I like just
Ooh,
popping and using the border control.
fair enough.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any consideration about letting them break and like spending their resources, but It depends a lot on what your ice on server 3 is and what your uh,
Exactly. Just a little too many unknowns to make that good of a guess, but I would still say that Max has probably got the advantage in this situation because they're just what? They're going to just botulus that pagan.
yeah, but I guess so, when I look at this, I wonder if you force them to get the botulus out again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're
Oh,
gonna trank it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
interesting.
and then a skunk works.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So now Lost Geeks play makes a bit more sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. At
I was
first,
thinking
I was
if
wondering,
their
like,
answer
oh,
was gonna be, uh, like if the answer to that was going to be reinstalling the botulus, then you do want to let them rejig it because they have to use or like not rejig, but reset it with a simul chip and then use the hive mind counter and then use the border control and they can't get in. But the tranquilizer definitely changes that a lot. So
definitely. Oh, Trank. It's going to be a big card, I'm guessing. Going to be a great one up in some, well, clearly max decks, and I'd imagine Shapers, of course. I mean, with SMC,
yeah,
there's
I
no.
do wonder if this PD can fit a CVS. I feel like that can lead to some real blowouts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a well timed CVS in this matchup indeed could just end the game, but those slots, especially in a 44 card deck,
Yeah, I guess it depends if you're getting help by shapers at all, then um,
yeah, if you're super afraid of that Shaper threat, I feel like you're gonna pop that CVS no matter what, right? Or I mean, you're gonna put it in there rather. Because Shapers are always using those viruses to a terrifying advantage, and now there's Conduit besides.
yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Oh, no problem. Managarm on the server is a defensive upgrade, as you would absolutely expect. Tried building a PD deck myself the other day, and indeed, just so much trouble getting those slots filled. You want to put in 3 Anoetic Voids, you want to put in 3 Managarms, but then that's 6 slots there. And of course, you need all your agendas and your money operations. There's the fun, though.
Yep, there's some good money on fermenter.
Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, love that fermenter simul chip. So I just can't get over that. I'm just thinking of all the times after this tournament is over that I am going to simul chip a fermenter out on the end of the corpse turn with a cookbook, and then just next turn it's like, cool, pop this immediately for a ton of cash. Love bringing that shaper intense manipulation of timing windows into Anarch.
Yeah,
Because there's definitely not so much about that, but when you get those two things going together, you get some really cool plays like what we're seeing here. Valkyrie, of course, of course. That is a console that I honestly never expected to be as popular as it was. I mean, when you look at it, the numbers are good, but when it first came out, I don't know, just felt like it was kind of a pet card for freedom, and it's
mm-hmm.
like, maybe you'll see this in a freedom deck probably, but nowhere else. And it's like, now Max is using it? Dang. Oh, not a single one. Unfortunate. Seeing a lot of 5 or more card whiffs today in this tournament, that never feels good. There's got to be some in HQ then. I mean, I don't know, could be wrong, could just be unlucky, but if I'm max, that is all I can think on my mind is like how many of those dang agendas are in your hand right now.
For sure.
Ooh. I mean, understandable trashing the spin doctor though, not topic. Really trying to keep that R&D filtered in a way that you do not want to disturb, it would seem. Well, I guess actually more so it's that, oh, I don't want to give them a bunch of new conduit accesses. That just makes total sense.
Yeah, I think if you can, you hold that spin doctor, yeah, until the end of the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I
Right.
didn't see that they overwritten it. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do strength of schedules quickly. Uh,
No problem.
and it's not going to be quick, but I now have an approach for it, so that's something at least.
Yeah. Now thinking about it makes total sense. They didn't pop that spin doctor. I mean, that could have just been the game for Happy right then and there with all the new cards they would have likely seen.
Yeah.
Especially because I could be wrong, but I get the feeling this entire turn is going to be them running R&D over and over and over again. Because there may be some good agendas in hand, but I mean, for goodness sakes, there's got to be something in that deck. Of course, Happy seems to be planning it out quite a bit. What are they thinking? They're probably thinking whether or not that's an agenda in server 3 and if they can really let that go. Especially if there's a seamless in Lost Geek's hand. If that's a Cyberdeck sandbox and they seamless it into a score next turn, like, oh boy, that would be devastating. So
Yeah.
much money, all those virus counters gone. Happy's been seeing all the cards on R&D, so just using Conduit to run again would be almost a waste of a turn. And
Boy, yeah, this is rough. I mean, so you have to purge here, right?
I would think so. I knew it. Seamless launch. This is going to be a Cyberdex. Yep.
Wow. That's
Yes.
huge. Get $8 and fix your board state in one go. Add seamless launch and install in server 3. Say, come and get it.
I mean, I've been wrong before, so I hesitate to say this, but I feel like that's game. Like,
Well,
oh
but
my
how,
god.
as Lost Geek, you have one seamless launch in hand, one in
Okay.
archives.
Yes.
I don't see how you're win. Oh, I don't see how you're winning right away, and I feel like this max
No.
deck probably has just enough, has enough legs that it can maybe get there.
That's true. It's definitely not over. Scoring a 5-3 at this point is still no easy feat. Yeah, nothing in that archives. There's got to be some in that hand then. Fortunate problem is even if they run HQ to both see what's in there and to try to force an ice res, like, excuse me, I sincerely doubt that ice on HQ is so expensive that that's really going to put Lost Geek on the back foot economically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if they purge for viruses again, it's both putting Happy back and also getting them 8 credits.
Yeah, that's such an. I mean, you take that every day of the week if you're the corp.
Definitely. Any
Yes, you want to
CVS that you
win,
might
but
have in there is 8 creds. Sorry, go on.
yeah, you do need to at some point stop purging and getting money and start winning the game. But
Of course.
um, yeah,
Just having that option changes it so much, I'd say. Which, can't blame Happy for taking a bit on this decision point. I know I would be. Probably be thinking the same things to myself in this situation. What is the chance that that is an agenda that I really need to start attacking that server 3?
yeah. I mean, we know R&D. I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I've been mostly working somewhere else. Has R&D been shuffled recently, or do we know that the top of R&D is pretty safe?
The top of R&D, I think at this point is pretty safe. I think at least the next 3 cards are not agendas,
Mm-hmm.
so not super worried. And I mean, that's the thing. If what's in server 3 is just another 4-2 of some sort, score that next turn without problem if it doesn't get contested. And then it's as simple as bioticking out that last 3-2. Ah, there we are. Labor rights. Probably going to get a few simul chips, I'd imagine, based on how I've seen this deck be playing out.
Yeah, with 1 click left, I feel like maybe you try and hold that for a turn because you're not going to get you're milling a card here unless you get lucky and or is the rebirth is not in hand and not even going to go in hand. So I guess
No. Mm.
oh, so you know what? If they have if their last labor rights is in hand, which it
Almost
is,
certain
then
it is, yeah.
this is totally fine, and I'm just being a paranoid person for no reason. So
It'd be hard not to be in this position. Not knowing what those 4 cards in the corpse hand, it's like, what is going on there? What tools are they about to whip out and make me go, ugh? Oh no! Oh no! Dang.
wow, they had the 3rd, 4th seamless launch. Wow,
Oh
that's
my
a crazy
goodness.
game.
Okay, it was the Ansel on HQ. That makes sense. Ooh, gosh, yeah. Well played by Lost Geek. Well played by Happy too. Really unlucky on some of those R&D accesses.
Yeah, for sure. Though, because so much of that HQ has to be
It
seamless
was.
launches.
I was just gonna say it was just the combo pieces for getting out there. So just that was just some bad draws. Well, sometimes it's like that. Let's see how some other games are turning out.
Yeah. Uh, let's go to. Where would you like to go?
I'm looking right now. There's the Pencil's got a few. I don't think there's really anything we haven't like seen yet.
Yeah.
Okay, Solemn's is done. Percomus and Solemn are done. Looks like Valencia beat Asa. So what's the Yucca Bean game? That one's still going, and it seems like it could have a ways to go yet.
Which table? Sorry.
Sorry, it's Yucca Bean and Shorty.
Okay,
Table 10.
table 10. Yep, I'm there.
Got Ken versus Polena. And it seems to be prepaid Ken, which is exactly makes a lot of sense to me. Oh, the Maker's Eye. I had not seen that new art. It's extremely striking.
It is
Kind of reared back from the computer screen for a second when I saw that.
It is quite the piece. That is certainly the case.
What's this Ken running? He's got some jailbreaks, got the dirty laundries, as you'd expect. Mayfly, Bravado, Wildcat Strike.
I mean, I think Wildcat Strike is. I don't know if they're on Swift or on Anacam, but Wildcat Strike, when it's free, starts to be like, yeah, gaining 6 is noticeably better than.
Yeah. And especially as you mentioned, when you get that Anacam in the mix, like I don't know how extremely competitive it is, but I run some decks where I've got Anacam and 3 Wildcat Strikes, and when you've got that situation going on, it's like it doesn't feel like there's a good option for the corp. Either give me 4 credits and a card or 5 cards. Oh my gosh. Either way, you're accelerating me to the limit here. So we've got a bit of a clown car going in server 2. Not the biggest one I've seen, but we've got a Lacosta. That's obviously a Bio Vault there. All behind an Anansi. Oof. Gabine's up to that 5 points, while Ken is on 2. I wouldn't necessarily say it's over yet, but that is not a great position to be in. Especially when it looks like your best option here is single accessing. Great to get a free bravado, though. Oh, got rid of a spin doctor at least. Okay, that's nice. Hey, I'll take that for a single access any day. Looks like Pelena's popped at least 2 of its Rashidas. There's some face down cards. I kind of doubt one of them is a Rashida though. So they're not going to get a ton of explosive burst draw at this point, I would imagine. It comes down to what's in that hand, which I cannot even begin to guess what's there.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Polana here, well, so okay, we're Ken here. We're getting chunked a little bit. Yeah, 3 Maker's Eye in the bin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to sweep HQ with a turtle at 4. I wonder if you just run R&D for a click and then try and sweep HQ. Assume that's a Biovault in server 2.
For sure.
I guess also there's not that much, like, people aren't running 6 strength in Techie Ice right now. Ooh.
Ah, dang it! I was afraid of that.
Yeah, I mean that's less bad I think than the Anansi, which is what I was mostly worried
Yeah.
about. But
I mean, if that had been an Nazi hit, like, good luck. I bet they really wanted to use that emergency shutdown. Yeah. Anacam, though, there it is. Anacam with some prepaid voice pads. That's definitely a rig I can get behind. A lot of fun, if absolutely nothing else.
yeah, it is definitely a. I'm here for. That's one of those, like, feels like a good deck to play because when it works so smoothly.
Yeah, you're making so much money. You're flying through your deck. You've actually got some great game plan against in case you're fighting some like low amounts of damage constantly pinging you deck, which I think people constantly forget about with Anacam. It's like, you got problems with PE? Pack that Anacam, baby.
Yeah.
Though I personally am here for that heartbeat meta.
Yeah. I mean, so let's see.
Loved running Heartbeat and Haley. Oh man, ugh. Engram every time.
Always there.
It's almost certainly a CVS on R&D, right? Like, can't imagine what else they would want to put there. Oh, got themselves a global for the trouble, though. Okay, pretty good, pretty good.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've got themselves a Bio Vault. They've got a Lacosta with one thing on it. No idea what is in that server 2, but I'm gonna bet that's either another Yagiyuda or just some 4-2, and that this might just straight up be game point. But we shall see. Excuse me, because it's not impossible Shorty could win on this turn, but I get the feeling it's not especially likely. But we're about to find out, because they can stroll through that Anansi now, and they've got 2 clicks left. I doubt they're going to run into anything higher than Strength 5.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Yuka didn't take the time to purge. I felt like if they did, their centrals are so hard to get accesses on that don't cost the runner so much more.
Yeah. I guess, though, Of course, Shorty made the right choice. Like, that engram is worthless now. Oh, no.
Ooh,
Of
okay, well
course.
that makes a lot of sense then. That's
Yep.
game.
Mm-hmm. I knew it was a CVS. Ah. Going for the, rearrange, because it's just fun. I understand. I've been there. That's the part of a Nazi that feels the best, honestly. I mean, besides the win that's about to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Helena Glacier ain't done yet.
Apparently not. I've never heard it pronounced that way, I'll be honest.
Oh, I could. I mean, as we all saw with me saying Max X earlier, it's not as if I'm a guru on these pronunciations, but I thought that's how it was. How do you say it? Just Polana?
Yeah, it's just Polana.
Okay. I saw the like. I think there's a line over the first day, so that just made me go like, oh, pronounce this
Yeah,
as
maybe it should be
Polana.
Polane. But then it should be the same A sound twice, right?
Right. That's true.
Helena. No,
Pelene.
Pelane. Pelane
Pelane. Actually,
or
Pelane.
Polana. Yeah.
It does sound like it could be pronounced I have no idea.
Pelane. Yeah, I don't know.
I do like Pelane.
Uh,
Okay, it would seem as if the Postus game is done. I think, getting the feeling these are pretty much all done.
yeah, I'm guessing so.
Yeah, yeah, it's done. Oaktown. Oh, new art on Oaktown. Hadn't seen that either. I really like that one. There's only one season in Oaktown. Construction. Very good. Anyone who lives in the Midwest of America knows exactly what joke that is being referenced there.
All right, I'm gonna hop over to the lobby with all the players, record the preliminary results so that we can get non-strength of schedule points, and then get strength. Then I'll calculate strength of schedule for everyone, but that will take a moment or two for sure.
Totally fine. I will be here.
Yeah. So I think for the stream, I will try and get get some music going and put you guys on hold for a little bit.